Right now, it is time for the awesomeness of the Space Bro Show. Yes. Welcome, my guests tonight. We have with us no labels, of course, because I'm an amateur. We'll work on them during the discussion so everybody can get their rep. Everybody can get it. So we are technically live right now. Hopefully.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
There I am.
There he is.
Guys, welcome here. We have Mr. Eric McKetton, Mr. Nighthawk Zale, and of course the Moonshiners, all here in order, hanging out, looking at shit on top. Boom. There we go. So we're all good. We're all here. Welcome, guys. How are you doing tonight? Do you hear me on a 30-second delay? Is what you're telling me? Because I heard everything Eric was saying. I was like, wait, am I on delay? What's happening?
No, we hear you.
Good.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Amen.
All right. You might hear yourselves too, so I apologize if that's it. Because this is the first this is the first Space Pro show we're doing with the mixer, so I have to break up some of the audio channels differently moving forward. But yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to power through it one way or another and figure it out.
It's all good. We'll work out the bugs.
Yeah.
That's why we like Star Citizen.
Exactly. We're our own private bug smashers in our own way, right? Every time.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, how's everybody doing? How's your weeks been? You know, some of you I haven't seen in a couple weeks. You know, what you been up to? What's going on? So Eric, what have you been doing? What you been up to, buddy?
I have been mostly focusing on the creative streams, the writing and stuff. It's the National Novel Writing Month, where us crazy novelists try to push out 50,000 words in 30 days. So I've been doing a creative stream pretty much every night of at least 2,500 to 3,000 words of writing.
Cool.
And
wow,
yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I've been playing other games like I recently picked up Abduction, which is it's made by the same guys who did Myst and Riven.
Oh, I remember Myst.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And it's complete first-person, free roam, walk around kind of a game, and I've been really impressed with that. It's been fun and frustrating, and it's great to have the people in chat trying to help you solve the puzzles. My rule is no backseat gaming. You know, if you've played it before, don't tell me how to complete it. But if you're like me and you're trying to solve it, you by all means give me suggestions, things to try. That kind of thing. But I just don't want it being spoiled so that we skip the puzzles.
Yeah.
Right.
I've decided to use a technique on some games when I need help. I'm going to make a little white flag and just start waving it on stream so that I surrender. Go ahead and help me out. You know, it's like, help me. Help chat. Come on. That's awesome.
Like SOS light blink or something.
There you go, something. Or I'll just stare blankly into the camera like I normally do. So there you go. So Nighthawk, what have you been up to, buddy?
Oh, man. Well, you know, like the last few months, a lot of real life work.
Yes.
So that's been kind of all-consuming in terms of time. And when I'm not at work, I'm spending most of it with the baby hawk. She's growing mad fast. She just turned 6 months old. We just did the 6 months checkup, and like she's sitting up on her own. She's wanting to stand up all the time. It's crazy. She's developing so quickly. So a lot of time has been going into those two things, but every once in a while, I'll find some free time, and so I'll sneak back in here. And I've actually been able to start working on some of my private game projects, and that's been really nice because it's getting me back into my artwork, and it's getting me back into the swing of just being in front of the computer. And over the last week, some of my work stuff has changed, so I'm actually looking forward to being able to come back to streaming for at least the next few weeks at a much more regular pace. So I'm excited about that. Things are changing for the better.
Well, that's great. We're all excited for you too. It'd be great to have you back around more often. You know, it's you know, we try to always look forward to the opportunities when we can get all the bros together and all the guys that we love to hang out with, and it'll be nice to have you back more active in the community too. So
yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So. Make sure to keep taking lots of pictures. We've all been following on Twitter with Baby Hawk, and it's been awesome. So
absolutely
it's great to see that stuff on a day-to-day basis. So Moon, what have you been up to, buddy?
Yeah, man. I missed you last week.
Yeah.
I actually went out and was social
But thanks for telling me ahead of time, so that helps a lot. When you get it like day before. Like
what, Sol? What is this thing you speak of?
Social? Yeah, I know. I went and met up with people in IRL, which means like in real life. Yeah, I met up with Craig X. You guys know Craig X. He's a fellow Star Citizen streamer. But him and his girlfriend, they invited me over to his place, and they had this like apartment concert. So like I went and hung out with them. We're doing like all the same old stuff. Playing a lot of Overwatch. Built this. You guys see my gun?
There you go.
My Diva gun.
Nice.
Pretty good, right? Go look it up. It's pretty unique.
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of Overwatch Star Citizen. We raised $600 for Extra Life tonight.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, that was freaking amazing. Doing like a lot of the same old malarkey I do. It was really cool though.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's nice to have a little bit of hype back, with some of the some of the stuff, with the anniversary stream coming up and all that. So it's good to see some of the old faces that we know kind of have had to go away for either real life or various reasons, or just decide to step back from the game for a little while. It's good to see some of those guys back around, coming in and saying, "Hey, I'm back. What's been going on?" And I'm like, "Oh boy." We got to go through everything, It's like, but yeah, definitely. So the hype's coming back a little bit, and I've been excited. So we've had, gosh, what is this? Our second or third Space Bro show since we got partnered, and I still don't have all the shit together. Last week we had an amazing failure of the stream machine, where it basically wouldn't stay on more than 30 minutes at a time. And that was on my birthday stream. So that was terrible. We were raising money for the anniversary sale and doing all this stuff. And it was just like, all right, next raffle, guys. And then we'd have 220 entries in the keyword raffle. And the shit would just dump. And lost all the entries. And because we allow our subs to be AFK, it's like if they entered and they went away, their entries were gone. It was just so bad, man. It was the worst nightmare. So I went out, me and the wife talked about it, and she was like, this is your job now, so we gotta fess up and do it. So we broke out the credit cards we just paid off, and we dropped about, $3,000 in equipment and went a little ape shit. Yeah. And we got a brand new stream box that's beyond badass, way better than my gaming rig. It's a 6850K core in it, and it's just, we got 40 lanes going on it. We got everything else up, got an Elgato capture card, so it's all decked out. And while I was there, I bought a 1080 graphics card. So I went a little ape shit, but it's cool. Everything's looking great.
I hope it wasn't the EVGA 1080.
No. We stayed away from the EVGA.
Yeah.
We went NVIDIA with the straight NVIDIA card. I was happy with that. Yeah. And I'm proud to say today in Star Citizen, we get 10 extra frames now. So we're at 40 frames instead of 30 frames. 10 whole extra frames for that, $600 purchase of a graphics card. So, but on other games, it's really amazing. 130, 200 frames. Right.
So. That was actually the kind of improvements you used to get when you'd buy top of the line graphics cards.
Yeah, right.
Just 5-10 years ago, I remember buy the latest, the best, the 780 Ti, the fanciest one out there, the most expensive. Yeah. You install it, and you're like, yes, I'm now getting 50 frames per second on Crisis, and I was getting 40. Or that was like your.
Or even worse, when you're you'd get, I went from 110 frames to 120. Nothing you'd ever see with the naked eye. It's a stat warrior thing. It's like, I got 10 extra frames, I'll never notice.
Or even better, you're like, yes, now I'm at 120 FPS on a 60 hertz monitor.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yes.
But no, we had all that happen.
What's wrong with EVGA, Mr. Lynch? Their 1070s and 1080s are literally exploding and catching fire in people's rigs.
Yeah, check the forums, go to EVGA, and check the was it Tom's Hardware had, I think, a posting about that too. So definitely check. They are offering exchanges and refunds, I believe, on some of those too. Sort of.
It's really like the stories are so different from one to another. Like one guy had his 1080 blow up, and EVGA demanded that he send pictures of it. So he sent pictures, and they said the parts that blew up on the card were secondary parts made by other manufacturers and not EVGA. Therefore, EVGA didn't have to cover the replacement. It's like
So
shit
just
like
just
that.
look it up. Yeah, exactly. It's because people took their Note 7 and shoved it in their computer on top of their EVGA card. You got it. That's what happened. No, but it's one of these things that, they're edge scenarios, but definitely check out the postings and stuff on them. I know people that have stuck with it, and they have. I think Val's still got an EVGA classified 1080, and he's fine. So you gotta check out the things and be aware of the information though. But
Calandros, it's specifically the ACX series of coolers that seems to be the problem. Even though it's not that the card's overheating, it seems like some of the circuits are receiving too much voltage and blowing, but it's in the ACX cards. So in theory, you can get an EVGA non-ACX cooler card, and it would probably be safe.
yeah.
But all of the Pascal cards seem to be having the issues.
Yeah, and
If you guys already have that card, I'd see if you can RMA it, which is a horrible thing to do.
It is.
But see if you
Well,
can at least get some kind of
a lot
refund.
of people have been, if you bought it from some place like Amazon, you can pretty much guaranteed get a refund, and that's what people have been doing, getting a refund and then just buying an MSI or other branded Pascal series.
But the fortunate thing is most places, when you buy that kind of equipment, if you have any failures, even if you make up a different failure, they'll exchange them.
Yeah.
Because that kind of those cards are warranted usually 5+ years. So just check it out.
Yeah,
Make
a lot
sure
of
you
those
got that
warranties
stuff.
are crazy. You can walk into the store,
Yep.
take the card out and snap it in half and say, I want a new one. And they'd be like, all right.
Yeah.
It's broken.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, but yeah, all that stuff's been happening with that. We've been trying to do the giveaway thing. We did our extra live stream today, and I think we got up to right around $550 or $520 so far, and we're going to keep it going throughout. But yeah, we had a lot of people donating that. We've been going bit crazy lately. There are a lot of bit competitions ever since we started the bit donation stuff. I never thought the bits would be anything, because I watch a lot of our partnered streamers and stuff, and I was like, oh, they're just pennies, right? But it's been nuts. These guys did over $100 in bits the other day in my channel. I was like, holy shit,
Wow.
just in pennies. I'm like, if you threw that many pennies at me in real life, I'd be really pissed off. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been cool. So, and they get them from watching
you can charge
commercials.
with the salt.
Yeah, my wife's even been doing it. They just watch ads in chat, and they just click on them through Twitch, and they get bits for free. None of them are buying them. They just get to use their free bits. And I was like, that's pretty awesome. So pretty cool stuff.
Cool.
Pretty cool stuff. But yeah, so let's dive into the anniversary sale and all the different bits we saw today. So we started out this morning. I'm mainly going to focus on this week, because last week, again, we've been kind of trailing all the information, same stuff, not all that. This is the first fresh news. This is also what they've been holding back for us all this time. We have to put that in perspective. I don't know. Let's first impressions from. Did all you guys get to watch this morning's stream with their pre-test stuff, with the flight stuff and all that? And we won't dive into anybody's knowledge that might happen to be part of any Evocati stuff or anything like that. But based on what you saw just in this morning's stream, what were your impressions of that, Eric?
This morning's stream, not the whole stream, but the one that was just this morning?
Just this morning's one. Just the one with Disco and Tyler.
Well, I wish they would have had a cameraman without ADD, so that we could have.
He's got to be a relative, right? He's got to be a relative of somebody there, because the same guy they had at Citizen Con that was like
hated
the
the cameraman.
Oh, it was every time we'd get to the point. Okay, so now we're watching Lando. Let's see what Lando. Oh, nope, we're cutting. Okay,
Yeah.
Who the hell is this? It's Twerk. Okay, Twerk is flying towards. Oh, is he going to crash into DJ? Oh, nope. Now we've cut to. So we never could tell what was going on. We had 5 seconds of each guy constantly just cycling through, and then here's 20 seconds of an external shot of a guy waiting to respawn. Gee, thanks.
Well,
People are about to see Afterburn. People want to see the max speed of this thing. No, let's cut to another guy. It's like, fuck.
I liked it.
Such a slow race.
I loved it.
Afterburn, just once.
I loved it even in the racing,
skip this other
when they're
guy.
sitting there in the racing and they're neck and
This
neck,
guy.
and you're showing the shot, and then it cuts away from that, and all you do is hear explosion. You see DJ died or something. I'm like, I missed what happened with the two guys neck and neck. It was crazy.
The
I don't
one
know how
moment
many
that stands
times
out
during this
most to me
Yeah.
from this complaint, the one moment that stands out most is when Disco Lando convinced everyone else to race their Drake Heralds in third person, and he would be the only one racing in first person. And he decided to go through the last ring and boost through the tunnel.
What was that? He had it in the bag.
Just as he got past the ring and was about to hit the tunnel, they cut away from his feed.
I know!
And you could still hear him going, oh, boosting through the tunnel was a bad idea. Where am I going?
I know! And I'm like, this is such a great shot. So no.
No, I can't count how many times Xylo said, okay, now I'm going to show him this. So cut to my screen or cut to so-and-so's screen. We're showing, like Moonshine said, we're showing the afterburner effects, or we're showing the top speed of the Herald. So here's the top speed of the Herald. And meanwhile, the cameraman is on a dead guy floating beside one of the rings. And that's it, just sitting there. It's a dead body by the ring from somebody that blew up. The whole time as Tyler's sitting there going, and now you can see the top speed of the Herald is 1,000.
I attribute a lot of that is because they didn't have probably a regular manager like Jared available. They didn't have a red one, right? Because they didn't have Chris Roberts go, camera one, Jared. It was pretty bad.
Think it was probably Hennessy. I'm guessing it was Hennessy. I don't think Hennessy was piped into the same audio, vocal audio that they were. I think that was the problem. He was only hearing what he could literally hear with his ears. He didn't have headphones on listening to all of their conversations.
And what's bad with that is if you're using a switchboard, just like what we do when we stream or anything, you're reactive then. You're trying to watch all your panels and you're hitting a button reacting, and by the time you switch to something cool, it's already too late. You missed it. So you have to have that hang in there and kind of anticipate. But beyond just even that switchboard, how bad was the handheld camera? The handheld camera was what I was thinking about off the top, was the same problem. They're holding it, and then they cut to the guy with the handheld camera, and he'd be like off screen showing Sandy walking by on the left, and I was like, what is that?
There was one of those Twerk and DJ, I think, were shooting at each other, and Xylo was making a comment about, we got a duel going on here. Mm-hmm. And they cut to the handheld camera shooting basically into the ear of one of the other players, not one of those. All it was the side view of his head.
Hold on. Did you guys catch the kiss cam?
The kiss cam? No.
When he's when Disco's like, all right, guys, because Twerk and DJ were mic'd up.
Oh yeah, that was.
So they're having him come over.
Oh yeah, we're like,
he passed the thing over, and they're like this close.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was wonderful.
It'd be just like Moonshiner trying to lean into Nighthawk's microphone on his headset and try to talk here, look right here. It's like, oh my god, comfortably unclosed.
The reason I bring all that up, though, is that's my disclaimer, because I was watching intently in the Squadron Battle to kind of see how the combat has changed and moved from anything I've experienced in any way, shape, or form. We'll just leave it at that. It has changed from, obviously, speeds have changed. I really like the concept for the boost mechanic and the cruise mechanic, with one caveat. From what I gather from everything they've said is that the boost power is now based on your throttle power, your throttle setting. So if you're at 50% throttle, the maximum boost you can get is 50% more, something along those lines, right? Well, how does that affect all of us who don't use throttle at all, but we use pure strafe for maneuvering? Does that mean boost is always going to be at 0% for us? That's
interesting, because that's a good question. But I'd like to also mention the fact that, who brought that up was Twerk. And I applaud him for giving this information out to the community, because they literally didn't even cover any of that type of stuff unless Twerk or one of the other streamers would say something about, and pro tip, if you go up 50%, then it's only, if you boost, it's 50%. I'm like, that's kind of important information, to know. So, but I am really glad that they showed the dogfighting stuff to give us and kind of at least a little bit of a taste of what the speed adjustment kind of curtails and stuff, because I don't know, I don't think it looked that bad. I thought it looked pretty good, and there's been a lot of negative saying.
That's what I've been trying to. I was trying to stitch together the combat in my mind with all those jump cuts, and I think the combat does look better. Yeah. However, we're dealing with guys that out of all of them, only one of them was a really good combat pilot, and they never cut to him. I don't know. Yeah, this guy's awesome. So we're not going to show his view.
I don't know.
But
was that Riggs?
No, that was what was his name?
Vince.
Vince, yeah, Vince was the one that was leading the whole time, and he was flying a Gladius that has two size 1 neutrons.
I know, and he was rocking
and
them.
a Badger, and he was getting 20,000-30,000 points. So either the combat has drastically changed, or he is one of the best pilots the game has ever seen.
Yeah,
and why can't determine it? Because they wouldn't show him.
Yeah, and like Bozo just said in there, I thought the combat cams and stuff, we saw a little bit of the third-person cam, some of that stuff. It looks really good. I really like that perspective they give on that and give us some new angles and approaches and stuff. That was pretty cool. So I'm really excited. You might even see Mitauchi in Arena Commander, which I haven't played in over a year, just because it just didn't feel that good to me. But I'm kind of excited about these new speed adjustments and stuff, and I think it's going to let more players get excited and get into that. And we'll see how that. I'm really interested to see how that translates towards turret gameplay, to see if we see any difference. Because with maybe some of the slower speeds, tracking might naturally be a little bit easier when you're fixed turret on a ship trying to gun at a guy than like.
I think that's part of the
like,
idea behind the change.
Yeah,
you know, is to be honest, I have a feeling they've spent a lot of time trying to get the turrets working. Right. And I have a feeling one of the reasons for the change was someone said, "Look, we can't do it at these speeds," and it's a legitimate thing to say.
It is.
They can't fix it or whatever. No, there's a reason why jet fighters use missiles over guns.
Yeah,
because at the speeds that we are currently flying in Star Citizen, we are at supersonic speeds. If it was an atmosphere. Yeah. And there's a reason why jet fighters use missiles at those speeds, because you can't aim a freaking gun at those speeds.
Yeah, that's why the B-52s aren't relevant anymore, Eric? Is that what you're trying to say? There's a reason World War II aircraft aren't relevant in today's jet fighter scene? I was like,
And there's a reason why Chris kept saying he wanted World War II in space. Not because he wanted aerodynamics of World War II airplanes, like some people like to think, but because he wants that speed so that we can get that close-in visceral dogfight.
The dogfight's so much more interesting, and you even find that across the board on games. Like if you go over to the Battlefield series or anything like that, personally, when I played games like Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, I mean, jet fighting was like, everybody, what do? They slow down as slow as they can at a jet fighter so they can actually hit shit, or they're flying by off the map like this, and it's just not fun especially when you go to a ground-air combat scenario, which is something else they have to be thinking about, right? With PlanetSide and everything else, if you're going to supersonic speeds, that's in today's term of military, that's a dust off and forget about it. You don't engage combat, and the infantry has zero chance of engaging a plane going at those speeds without some advanced technology. It's not fun and immersive and interactive between the two people fighting. At slower speeds and stuff, it's going to be more interesting.
The way they've fixed it so far is they've increased the projectile velocity speeds to frankly unrealistic levels. Yeah. Our ballistics projectiles in game are running consistently about 10 to 25% faster speeds than any of their real life counterparts.
Yeah.
So that's
mini railguns in space, basically. There's like no way.
Here's the thing. Like, I agree with you 100% on this, but coming from a speed that was so fast.
Yeah.
I'm watching the races today, and again, it looks slow. And what happens to the guys who like racing? Guys who have like minute 37 second laps, who are like really good when they get out there and like they're doing,
they'll be immortalized for all time because nobody will ever beat that time again.
Not minute 37 laps. I'm talking about like the entire race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without getting into that too much, it doesn't change the top speeds that much for the top racers.
It just felt real slow. It looks slow.
Again, you're not dealing with top racers.
Let's hear from Nighthawk. Nighthawk, what were you going to say?
I'm just thinking that it's going to be interesting, at least from a racing standpoint, to think how could this actually be the point where they start letting you feel the difference between the 350R versus the M50, where today we were watching the Drake Herald race through what should be a comfortable M50 beginner's course, because the M50 has the agility, like a Gladius should have the agility to take on those sorts of turns at higher velocities. Ships like the 350R, ships like the Drake Herald, they're not really meant to go at high velocity and maneuver around these tight corners. They're meant for the longer drag strips. And so when you're watching a drag racer try and run a Le Mans race, it's going to be really dull. And you might get some laughs out of it even. But if you want to take it serious, if you want to see an F1 race, if you want to see a Le Mans race, then you have to have the right cars on the right course.
Yeah.
So that's one of those things
And,
where I think
and the
they're-
right drivers.
Yeah, and
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
And I was going to say a couple other things regarding the race stuff is, one thing we've dynamically seen the speeds change over time on these same tracks and the types of ships that are flowing on them and these type of things. We haven't seen new tracks because maybe they'll design tracks that are meant for the new flight mechanics over time. If these are what they are going to consider finalized stuff, where maybe you'll see some straightaway stuff where you can tweak out like a bunch of heralds and make it like a funny car track where you choose your boost time and you choose things like that. I think that would be interesting and dynamic in that regard. And I like the idea of running like you have a slower top end, but it's all about your boost because that makes it strategic. Like, where do you boost through? Where do you not boost through? How do you get into the corner? Before, it's like people get so good they just run flat out, don't really have to boost, and they're just hitting these times like are ridiculous because they know the track so well. Now it's like relearning the same track where they're gonna have to go through it. It's like, oh, I can't boost in that corner, but I can give a little bit more gas in this one or not. So I think it's going to make it more competitive because it's going to be more about the talent of the driver than memorizing a pattern. Because I feel like that's what it's been up to now. People have gotten so good that it's memorize a pattern, and after a guy's run the track so many times, his ranking goes up huge.
It's still going to be memorizing a pattern. It's just going to be a pattern of when to use what button.
Well, yeah.
Is what it's going to be. But that is, as much as people want to complain about it, that is what professional racing is too.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is a lot of memorizing the track, knowing exactly how your car handles with the tires that are on it, with all those little things that go along with it. So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, and they even say that in NASCAR. My wife's a huge NASCAR fan. I don't really watch the circle races, but they'll talk about home field advantage and how these drivers know a certain track. Well, after they've raced on a certain track in real life, like so many times, they do. They really know the pitfalls. They've memorized the track, and they got muscle memory on it. And it's really interesting to see that translate even into video games. So it's pretty cool. So I hope at some point they'll have some cool simulator where we can design our own tracks. Like, wouldn't that be cool if you could like move the area around and then race it like that? That'd be awesome. So
Yes.
But really, go ahead.
One of the things they talked about early on with the racing was they wanted to develop a system where you could actually fly around and drop checkpoints and to build your own racetrack. And I'm still hoping they can pull that off because that would be sweet.
I'm not big into racing, but there was a game I played before, and it was, I can't remember there's a mode in it. It was called something like Catch the Rabbit or something, which reminded me of dog track racing, where it was a chase race. You took turns, like you'd have to chase the guy, and so it was almost kind of like playing racing horse, where he would drop rings, you'd have to go through them, match his pattern, and depending on how many misses or hits you got through the ring pattern, that would be whether you won or not. And then you'd switch, and then he'd have to follow your pattern and stuff. I was like, that's pretty cool. So it was dynamically creating like a type of catch type thing, like you'd be chasing the other guy. So I was like, that's pretty neat. But no, again, I think they're setting the stage on the arena commander front for the fighting to maybe even bring in these larger ships over time, right? Because we're slowing it down. We're seeing this dynamic thing. I still think turrets are going to have to be reworked a little bit, no matter what they do.
I know we're jumping ahead, but there is something in the production schedule report.
That's what I was going to talk about next, too.
It's talking about Arena Commander. And that's under the Arena Commander improvements or whatever for 2.6. Let me see if I can scroll down to find where I was looking at it. The new ICC mission and EVA combat areas listed under Arena Commander. Now, I'm assuming, my gut assumption is that was meant to be a separate persistent universe thing that they just rolled in there. But at the same time, it's, putting that in there under everything else under there definitely applies to Arena Commander. So I don't know. Maybe they're trying to come up with a combined arms kind of scenario to Arena Commander, maybe something along the lines of a protect the VIP kind of mission, or I don't know.
That would be really cool because you want that training platform for boarding,
right?
Those type of things, and that's only going to be able to be simulated outside the real world, I guess, or the real PU. In Arena Commander, there's no other platform you're going to be able to do that except there. So that type of practice and scenario running would be really fun. But now,
Sim, capture the Idris. That's something they promised to us like 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
Don't never forget capture the Idris.
Yep. And I want to go ahead and since you brought it up, Eric, let's talk about the production schedule report and give impressions about this. Why CIG decided to do this? What our impressions are, and to be honest, why the fuck they haven't done this sooner? I mean,
They did this before. That's the thing that people are
they used
forgetting.
to.
And then they stopped doing it out of the blue. And that's one of the things that people like were up in arms about. It's like, where did every week? Remember, they were doing the weekly production updates on Star Marine and on whatever the current
but it wasn't
build was.
That was
December 8th, man.
And this is the thing I'm afraid of, because when it happened with Star Marine, it was reactionary because they were panicked, because they were behind, because they were like, oh, the community demands this, so they did it. And once they said, okay, we're just going to have to rework Star Marine, they just stopped doing it. I'm hoping this is a call out to saying this is our new communication to you on a permanent basis. This is how we're going to roll out from now through launch, even new assets, new production things. So that way it's very transparent to us. So I hope so. And we'll see how much they update it and all that stuff. But I love this. I love this.
Well, that's the thing is I've been cautioning people today that are getting excited about this. Like, this is what we've been asking for. This is what we want. They've done this before, and they just stopped without really any warning. Mm-hmm. So, while it's great they're doing it again, it's exactly what we've been asking for, because it's not, the primary bitch to CIG isn't that they are missing dates. That's what, people don't seem to get. It's that we don't know why they are missing dates. Yep. And that not only are they not communicating it to us, but sometimes they're not even communicating to us until the minute they're supposed to reach that date, like with Citizen Con and the Squadron 42 reveal and whatnot. Like, so oh, and by the way, we didn't get it done. I'm sorry you guys tuned in to watch for it. See you later. Things like this. Like, wait a minute, what the hell? That's been the bitch. So this fixes that bitch, because then at least we can see.
It's almost like at this point of the development process, we're in a marriage with CIG, right? I mean, we don't. Right. I don't feel like I'm too heavily invested. I believe in them. I still want it to work. We're trying to work through these things. We're gonna make our marriage work. It's about communication. We just want to continue to communicate. And when they shut down, we think something else is going on or something's wrong and all this stuff. And you're right 100% about them having something like this for Star Marine. And I'll tell you when they dropped it. They dropped it when they launched 2.0, because we were so like, oh, look at all this. Look at all this amazing thing. And when they launched that live, all of a sudden all these updates went away. It's just like, because we were so worried about, oh, look at the universe. Look at all this stuff. Look at all the pretty stuff. And they're like, oh, yeah, we don't need to do that anymore. We're on a roll. We're going to release updates every month, right? They said, we're going to release updates every month. You don't even have to worry about this. Bam, bam, bam. We're on a roll. And then things started to hiccup and drag out. And then it was like, okay, now we're on a reality basis of we're not getting updates except once every 2 to 3 months. And now we need
that
this
goes
stuff
back to that cycle that people have been talking about on the forums and on Reddit, where where are all the people that are always so optimistic right now? Just because there's a lull in the game or in content, there's suddenly the game is bad. Why is everybody suddenly pessimistic? And it's not that everybody is suddenly pessimistic. It's that when things are looking good, like you said, during the 2.0 drop, and we had all this amazing new eye candy, and we're all wild. The natural reaction is to be optimistic and buoyant about the game. So on places like Reddit, every single thread that is about something that is, quote, positive is immediately upvoted without regards to content or whatever. It's just, I'm happy about Star Citizen 2. I'm going to push that upvote button. And on the RSI forums, the same thing. Every single thread that is about the new content is discussed because people want to talk about it. And so it gets pushed to the top. It's not that the negative people went away, or it's not that people are suddenly more positive than normal. It's just that there's more of a natural positive reaction to it.
There's more hype too. Let's be honest. There's more hype because people are excited. We all believe in the game so much. When cool shit happens, we're going to talk about it and get hype because there's cool shit happening. That's just like, oh my gosh, and then everybody else gets excited too. So it drowns out the naysayers because there's so many people who are like, are you fucking kidding me? Look at this. This is amazing.
But the thing is if you pay attention to the people that spend every day doing this, people like you, like all of us here. We are never overly optimistic or overly pessimistic about the game, but people tune their views of our views based on where they're at. So if we're all in the same spot, like last week or the last time we did the Space Bros show, we talked about Star Citizen. We were all in the same spot of we ain't got shit to talk about, and the response to that is, people are hating Star Citizen. No, we're not hating Star Citizen. We just got nothing to talk about, and if we got nothing to talk about, it's going to look like, we're not hyped about the game because there's nothing to hype.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily the people's opinion. I'm sure there are people out there who their emotions wildly swing with updates on Star Citizen. But I think for the majority of us, it's whether or not they've, given us something to be excited about. We're going to be excited, but that doesn't mean that we're still not also going to be a little pessimistic about CIG meeting their dates, or pessimistic about CIG being able to deliver on everything in the patch. Things like that. And so that's where it gets weird.
Well,
I don't think it's always necessarily like pessimism either. I mean, like, there's a certain point where I was at a point where I was like, you know what? They'll complete the game when they do it. As a streamer and as streamers, we're always looking for content. We're always looking for something to talk about. We're always, because this is what we do. So when they don't give us this kind of content, it's very hard to stream it. I've had temper tantrums in the game where I've had the same guy spawn on top of me for the last 15 minutes in Arena Commander, where I'm in the persistent universe and the shit's just not working. I'm not getting good frame rates, and I'm over it. And and when there's no content, you can generally get upset, and that's when you kind of have to calm down for a second and be like, all right, listen, the game's still very much in development. And this is something that I have to tell people who come into my stream and be like, listen, just temper your expectations because the game is in development. It's being made right now. It's not going to have good frame rates. You're going to have issues with it. And it's things you always have to oh, wait, that's something I tell other people I have to live with.
This is funny because this is a conversation I was having with a CIG employee literally today. But right before the second part of the live stream went up and they debuted the new production schedule, and I was telling him, what part of the problems we have here as streamers is we are, quote unquote, the front line of your PR department, as well as we are the front line of the battle to get the right information out.
Yeah. And more than many things, keeping people honest too. We have some audio going on. I'll reset that thing. Okay. Give him the touch of all your bucks.
Touchy, quick, reset
there
audio.
We go.
That's what everybody's saying.
Yeah, I know. There we go. Whoa. Now there's a big echo. No, there you go. No, basically it's that USB interface. I got that Scarlet, and then sometimes it locks up a little bit. But we should be good now.
That's some funny shit.
We are good now.
We are. No, they just tell me in stream it happens 2 or 3 times a day. Is this the way it goes? They'll just be like, what?
That's the crux of it is we as streamers, we're seeing this every day. We're seeing the good and the bad, and we're seeing the mood of the viewers change and the people change. And we are also the ones that we deal directly with the trolls as well, the people that are out there looking for reasons to talk shit about Star Citizen. And basically since Gamescom, or since at least CitizenCon, we haven't had much for a defense against those things other than wait and see. Gamescom, at least we had, hey, take a look at this video footage, and shut up and go watch that. Now, at least with this this production schedule, we can say, look, if you want to know what's going wrong or what's going right, boom, here's the webpage for it. Don't talk to me about it. Here's the webpage.
Yeah,
and then that's right there, done.
Absolutely. I mean, again, this is broad strokes what we're showing here on the graph and what they have presented to us. It's they of course give the write-off that they can adjust this anytime, but we didn't want to know at 10 o'clock on Sunday we're going to have this for sure. We wanted at least some sort of guideline, and they're giving that to us. And I'm happy about it.
Broad strokes is exactly what it is. There's already things on there that we know are not happening currently, that are listed as happening right now. So it's not that. But at least it lets us know what they're going for and where they want to be at.
Yes.
I just like that little bit. And I think I can point to it if it's right here. Like that right there. You see what it says? December 8th?
Yep.
See what that is?
Target release for 2.6.
They call it the aim date. So that's good. The part I like about it is where they actually show the bullet points of what's going on, just like what we saw in Star Marine before. Okay, these are blockers. This is where we're at. This is what done. And so I can thumb through this in a matter of moments and see exactly what's happening. So
and there's little things in those bullet points that we haven't heard about before. I just scrolled down to the Pirate Swarm one. The game rules will be set up with the new method as part of the mega map work. Apparently, that means that they are increasing the size of the Arena Commander maps.
They're increasing the size?
I would assume so. A mega map?
That's what they were talking about way back when, too, right? That they'd have to
A
do
long
something,
time ago, they mentioned they wanted to do that, and that was coming with 64-bit, but they haven't done it yet. And as far as I know, they've not mentioned directly that they are increasing the Arena Commander.
Do you think that is the Arena Commander map, or do you think that maybe that's what they're dubbing Crusader as far as the mega map, maybe for them, because they're extending it out?
This is Pirate Swarm, though. Is what I'm talking about. This is under the Pirate Swarm subheading. So I would assume it's a reference to Arena Commander. Then again, though, just like that whole thing about new ICC missions, I would assume that is a reference to the Persistent Universe, even though it's listed as the Arena Commander balance improvements. So I don't know.
I don't know. Because I'm looking at it says under 2.6, it says Mega Map there, and it says under overall 2.6, under content, and they said front end refactor, and then world Mega Map. So I don't know. That's good. We should look for content. Yeah, we should look for that'll be a new hot word. It'd be Mega Map. So we'll have to look for some sort of. We'll ask Jay Lee. Jay Lee's always in here. We'll find him. He'll find out the secrets, even though he's apparently the whipping boy of all the competitions there. So they were pretty hard on him, weren't they?
Come back around, buddy.
Yeah,
I miss you.
He's always lurking somewhere. We see him. Let's see. Okay, so we jumped into this. I did want to do one more thing about the ships and stuff, and I wanted to talk because it kind of goes and guides us into the next phase of what we saw in the actual anniversary stream. Let's talk about the ship variants real quick and opinions, things like that, because we first saw those this morning. This time, let's start with Moon and see what was your impressions first off about the variants of these ships and all that jazz.
Well, I was hoping you would just reference Eric's tweet because I totally agree with him. No, I'm okay with it. With their color schemes, they're not really actually variants. I don't know, Eric. Can you skip to Eric and have him explain his?
I like the dodge.
I like Eric's opinion.
All right, Eric, go ahead. Take it, buddy.
You want me to just read my tweet that I sent out?
Go for it.
Or no, just give your opinion. On your thing.
My opinion is that they are walking a very fine line along that area that they have been accused of doing in the past but have not done, which is just slightly altering or basically offering downloadable content for sale as full featured content. And what I mean by that is, the variants for the most part appear to be nothing more than the same base ship with a different texture and a different base loadout of weapons, which is not, in my book, what I would consider to be a variant, because that's something you can do yourself without spending any money. Because if you have that ship, you go into and you rent it with rec, and you've got those weapons. However, we did notice that with at least the Gladius Valiant, or what is Valiant? Is that what it's called? It appears to have more size 3 missile pylons than the default Gladius. So it could be that these variants do actually have substantial physical changes to them that we just simply have not seen yet. But in the meantime, I can't wait till they offer my golden ship downloadable content, whatever DLC package that only costs the same price as the actual game itself for the people that want to have that Uber ship, like in so many other things that are accused of being pay to win. That's what the thing that scares me about it is. It looks like what many pay to win games do in terms of content. Even if it isn't pay to win, it looks like it.
Yeah,
and it adds fuel to the detractors.
Yeah, what were you? Did you have any impressions on this, Nighthawk?
Yeah. So first and foremost, my immediate impression was we don't need more combat ships. But these ships are already out. It's very easy to say something like, "Oh, hey, we just came out with this new variant. We never announced it before. We've never discussed it before. So here's a way for us to provide you with a ship that you've been flying for a while in LTI format." LTI is not really that big of a deal. It doesn't matter in terms of game mechanics in the long term, but there are those out there who like to collect it. There are those out there who would prefer not to have to worry about that insurance mechanic and just simply do their thing. For whatever reason you want to get the LTI, it's there. They're working a loophole within their own system that they've created in order to say, have some LTI. And it speaks to potentially the newer generations of citizens, these people who are coming in on this event for the first time. They've never seen these ships before. They've never flown before. They probably, last time they looked at the website was potentially in the middle of a free fly, and they didn't even realize that they could download it and try the game for free. So to come in and to see something like this, it's very intriguing. I mean, look at the way they're changing these colors. Everything is looking so amazing. And yeah, we can't do that right now, but the potentiality is there. Right. It's enough to excite the imagination and draw you in.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're playing with a loophole and you're potentially dancing on the lip of a volcano. But it's not a bad marketing move, I think.
Somebody brought up in chat, they need to stop using the word variant. I absolutely agree with that.
100%.
I agree.
Based on what they have shown us in the past as our variants, these are not variants. Even, and people like to go back and they say, well, the 300 series, those are variants and they're just like this. No, they're not. No, the 300 series variants each have something hardware locked to them that does not exist on the other 300 or 300 series.
And
like
and what's really dangerous about that, what's really dangerous about that is when they're talking about variants like what you're talking about, Eric, is they're trying to offer a very niche difference in these ships, and all it is like we said, the skin and a loadout, and say, this is a variant of a combat role. I just don't accept that. Because you put shotguns on it and say, this is the long range version of the fighter and this is the short range, that doesn't make it a variant. That's not the whole thing. Other ships that have been defined as variants, like take the Avenger series, right? You have a cargo runner that is made and built differently to hold cargo. One that's actually meant to hold like people in it and prisoners and bounty hunting, and one that's an EMP. Those are drastic enough differences on the same ship frame that you can say that. Because you throw a paint job and put a different weapon set on it that we can put on ourselves doesn't make it a freaking variant. That doesn't make any sense.
But it's still also not a variant. If you remember, like when they sold the Warlock, the Stalker, and the Titan, it's all the Avenger. It's all it's just an Avenger. The only thing different is it was modular. We've been told that like we have modular ship that can you can change out the module and it'll make into this, and then you have variants. Variants are very distinct, different types of ships.
Well, they blew that up right here because there's an Avenger variant. So they just effed themselves on that.
I agree with Mitauchi. Those are variants because physically the one Avenger cannot do what the other Avenger does. They had to have a hull change to do it. The EMP version, there's no cargo hold, there's no storage in the back. You can't even get into the EMP version of the same.
They told us you'll be able to, they sold the Avengers as variants because at the time they couldn't swap out the modules. But a Titan can equip an EMP in it. A Warlock can turn into a Titan. It's all supposed to be modular. That's the way it was sold. They told us like,
bet you money they changed that.
We couldn't do it now, so we sold it as variants.
Yep.
So
like,
I guarantee that's what they'll do too, Moon. They'll change it to like now it'll be the EMP variant versus the cargo variant versus they're going to change the language. I bet you money they will. And just like Alan Went says in chat, it's a whole different ball game, right?
Personally, I think they should call what they've offered us today editions, just like they do with cars. So there's the LE, the SE, whatever. So instead of it being the Hornet's Wildfire variant, it's you got the Hornet F7C Wildfire edition. That one little change right there suddenly makes it a legit thing because that is done everywhere. You know that the special edition of my minivan, the difference between my minivan, which is the special edition, and the original edition of that minivan is air conditioning.
Yeah. And
that's it.
And I know this all boils down to a language difference, but we all have to realize the reason all of us as content creators and fans of the game are really hype on this distinction between a variant, a modular ship, and all this is because it does go to the impression of how people perceive the game and how they can impact the game financially in the future. If you start selling ships that are like pink or blue and they're priced different because they're pink or blue, That doesn't even make sense to the regular guy out there. If you sell me a skin for 10 extra bucks, or you sell me a loadout package, like maybe I can buy this weapon set to snap on the ship like that for 10 or 20 extra bucks, I'm into that. And that's the only difference. If they sold it like that, no complaint. You start calling this a distinct variant for, you know what, I have a pink Idris that costs me a different, because I have a pink one versus a blue one versus, I don't like that. It's just, it's not good.
Pink Idrises.
I don't know if you guys remember, but when they first introduced the concept of variants, they very clearly stated that a variant was any form of a ship that changed the style, the shape of the hull in a permanent fashion. So this is a point where I think we need to expand on the vernacular used around ships, what they are, how we look at them, and how we customize them. Because another confusing one would be the Vanguard. Everything about the Vanguard, nothing changes in the hull except for this new hoplite. All the original 3 variants, you just switch out that life pod. It's everything, all the components
it's modular,
on board
it's
that life pod that change out.
If I remember, though, I swear I recall Ben, and I think it was on one of the Ben's Day podcasts, saying that they didn't really consider the Vanguards to be variants because it was modularity. Because that it was a module swap instead, but that they were just kind of using the term variant because that's what we were used to. And that would have been the perfect time, like you say, to start identifying what this terminology is.
And I think this whole question we're posing here should be answered by Ben, because since he is in charge of the ships and stuff like that, he needs to define the language a little more clearly, because now we have confusion on modularity, variants, and all this stuff. And because the definition that you just gave us, Nighthawk, unlike anything that would change the actual form factor or the statistics of the ship whole would be a variant, the image they presented to us today that's showing above our heads right now clearly goes against that entire thing. They're defining these as variants because of paint jobs and weapon loadouts, which is not right to the whole.
To be clear, though, at least on one of the ships so far, we have identified that there is a distinct hardware change if it is accurate. And that is that on the stats page, again, the stats page, and we all know how accurate the stats page is, it says that the Valiant has a total of 4, I believe, or size 3 missile pylons, which right now the standard Gladius has a total of 4 missile pylons, but only 2 of those are size 3.
And so I've seen Alouette in chat talking about
bit of a change.
He's talking about the Super Hornet is a variant, and he is correct, because the Super Hornet has a great hull difference and is a complete armor set different than a regular Hornet. So there's not only structurally and everything, there's a lot of things on appearance. They're very similar.
The tracker.
Yes. So there's
tracker,
dynamics.
You can't swap out that center pod, right? Or you used to not be able to. I don't know.
Actually, that center pod is designed to replace the storage unit. So it takes that same circular space. It's just a module, a component module that's swapped out to give it the mission-specific capabilities.
But I mean, you can't pull it out yourself and replace it with something else right now. There's no item port there. It's just that's what I'm saying. The tracker is built. It is welded in there to be a tracker. The Ghost is welded on there to have this special armor. The and of course the Super Hornet, it has a completely different cockpit. So those, I would, and bigger ports.
And even if you could put the ball turret in other variants of the Hornet, it would not have the same armor set or capability. You'd have a big effing gun on a thin-hulled ship. So it's going to be a little bit different type of set. So while you can make variants or some of these modular ships similar to each other, and I would argue even with the Avenger, even if you could put an EMP and all this stuff on it, the dynamic difference should be that they would have still different statistics based on the ship, I would hope. If you put the MP on the non-Warlock ship, like a Titan, maybe it's thinner skinned or maybe it's not as dynamic. It might not, but it should. It should if they want to stick to their language. That's not how
they sold it. No, that wasn't their intention in the beginning. Like even like going back, like there was like some difference in the not the Wardens, the Vanguard, like the Harbinger. The Harbinger is supposed to have thicker plate, so it's the slower of the 3.
Right.
No, 4.
Different fuel consumptions, if I remember correctly, too, based on different types of capabilities. So I don't know if that's still going to be the case, but that's how they were sold in the very beginning.
Yeah,
Right.
but how do you tell people like, oh hey, when they said to us, hey, don't buy 3 Avengers, all you need is
Yeah.
one. You can
And
just
that
buy
is
the
what they
Titan,
told us.
and you'll be able
Yeah.
to upgrade. So like, it
Yeah.
better be
Yeah.
the same.
It
Like,
better
just
be, in
better
the
be
end,
the same.
yeah.
Because don't tell us something and be like,
I just really
again. But I think they'll do their due diligence.
I think they will,
do
and
right
they'll
by
make
us, but-
adjustments according to what we're happy with and makes sense for them. But I really hope they don't go on this variant kick to this degree. I hope they keep ships modular. I'm good with that. And then I really want them to change this to skins and maybe loadouts. You can buy different skin packages and loadout packages. And I think we'd all be happy with that. I think that would be
Well, yeah, skin packages. I have been an advocate for being able to buy skins from the start, simply because it's a great way to generate revenue long past the launch date. One of the things that we've always talked about is one of the easiest ways for them to generate revenue would be that you have to pay credits to be able to reskin your ship beyond the base color schemes.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to go with that fancy pink and blue we just saw on the Avenger, that's not a default color scheme. That's a $5 add-on.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing with org colors. That was a big selling point in things like Eve and other games. Like you could design something for your alliance or your org, and then the people would all have to purchase that add-on or something in order to display and represent their organization colors
Absolutely.
and stuff. And that's cool.
Yeah.
For a couple bucks, that's okay.
What's funny is like a year ago, this was like an impossibility.
Yeah.
They had told us like, oh yeah, you're not gonna be able to do that. Maybe you can have a decal, but being able to like have to render colors on ships across like an entire like player base would be like pretty impossible, very hard to do.
I can't-
Now it's like a thing that's very simple.
I can't wait till this
Hopefully-
fucks up though, and you're flying like an orange and black ship, and then it like tweaks out when you're in space and turns red and yellow or something.
Yeah.
It's like vroom, vroom, vroom. What? It's like I
Well,
don't know who it is.
Have you ever taken a close look at the one skin that works for the? Well, no, I think now all of the Aurora skins work, but the skins for the Aurora, they tweak out from person to person. Like I'll be flying around in my Aurora with the Operation Pitchfork skin on it, and I can see the decal and all that. And Nighthawk's flying next to me, and he can see it. Moonshiner comes up, and my Aurora is gunmetal gray, the whole thing. Things like that.
I'm just happy,
it's
guys, when all the parts are there. When you go up to something and all the parts are actually on the ship that you see, and it's
that was
not-
one of the things that was cracking me up today when they were showing off the ships and they were talking about all these new things. Is when they do the saber, you can see that some of the guns or the gun ports, the items are actually floating about 2 or 3 feet below the ship underneath it. When he panned through, and he quickly panned up away from it.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, nothing
go.
to see
There's
here.
the Star Citizen I know.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. But yeah, I think all those things were really interesting and all that. But then we got into the actual live stream. And what do you think of let's get people's impressions of the overall presentation? As if you take it as a whole compared to like CitizenCon, Gamescom, all that stuff, the overall presentation, how they presented it with the animated character and then cutting scenes and all that stuff, and just it kind of did it. What were your impressions on that? We'll try to start with Moon, unless he makes me skip him again.
Oh, okay. All right. No, 1,000-year-old Jeremy Clarkson. I thought it was great. I liked the animated character. I liked some of their screen transitions were quite amazing, and the chat kind of blew up laughing at that.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I thought it was relatively good. What can I say about it?
That's
the interviews. What's the name of the sequence where they show off the UEE's big guns? What the hell is the name of this?
Capital ship
the
section.
capital ship.
There was awesome sequences. Big guns of the UEE. I really enjoyed that. The video for the origin ship, the behind the scenes for the Prowler, awesome. Did a great job with that. I mean, they've definitely. I'm excited to see like the movie that comes out of this. A couple of years from now, with all of this like stock footage and stuff like that, because the production value that went into it was really good. Again, some of the things that happened, some of the interactions. See Xylo like really ribbon disco.
Oh wow! It was good
during
to
these
see.
matches,
It was good not only see them, but just the whole team
like,
and their whole
Yugi's almost
thing.
to the fact. I
Yeah.
was like, whoa!
It was really
It was
good.
good.
It was good. And here's the video, the big guns of the UE. I thought this was amazing. I really, I know people
Beautiful.
get on me about just like capital ships, but
Capital ship porn.
oh my
Loved
God, look at that. It's just amazing. So
Yeah.
I was super hype about that. All right, Nighthawk, how about your impressions? What was just overall?
So
Before we pick it
overall,
apart.
presentation-wise, I really enjoyed the format. I know they experimented with this format at Gamescom first, and I feel like that was a successful test bed for it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the cinematic cutaways and keeping to the theme of this whole galactic touring, or was it intergalactic touring expo?
It was like
whatever
a car show in space, right? I mean, it was
galactic
like
car show for starships.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's a new way that they're presenting it that we haven't seen them present it from before.
Yeah.
Well, they did way back when they introduced the racers.
Yeah, the M50 commercial.
Right.
That's kind of the impression I got. It gave me a little snippet of that, and I like how they intertwined this. It was really good.
That was kind of just a small segment within a larger presentation. I'm talking about the overall presentation. It was centered around this theme of we're at an expo, enjoy the starships.
Right.
Oh, and let's talk Star Citizen 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was fun because it was different. And again, while I didn't necessarily like the majority of the focus was on combat, what I did really enjoy is how, without saying, Squadron 42 is in production, they were showing us a lot of things that have to do directly with Squadron 42 being in production. Capital ships being a perfect example of that. They just introduced us.
Big guns. I can almost guarantee you this is part of that mission that they couldn't show us.
Yep.
Last month. These are the scenes from
Right.
that mission that they like the best. The cut scenes and whatnot. That's what this is
It's
from.
basically what I was
Well,
getting at.
we even
Like-
saw UEE Stanton across one of them, which
Yep.
is we know is where the game's set. So yeah.
So it's really nice to be able to see that they're trying to give us the information without being able to stand up and say, this is Squadron 42, this is what we're doing for you. Sorry we spoiled it, but now you know.
Yeah.
It was a really good way of feeding us the information. And I'm really interested to see whether or not they do any more info drops over the course of the rest of this, what is it, a 9-day sale that they're running right now. Because they didn't really give much in terms of new ships,
Right.
but I'm hoping that they do. Because I still hold out on a lot more that's focused outside of combat. We're about to get 2.6, yes, but I'm looking beyond that. I'm looking at 3.0. I'm looking at 3.3. I'm looking at 4.0, and I'm thinking to myself, when do we get to start really training as multi-crew positions? When do we really start to get playing the game, understanding what it's going to be in the end, and practicing accordingly? And these are the things that I want to see. I want to see mining ships. I want to see tugs. I want to see the ships, the fucking trash ship, for crying out loud. Give us a mini reclaimer. Like,
I don't think you're going to see that, though, till 3.1. I think 3.1 is going to be the beginning because that's where mining comes into play. And I really think we're going to be so heavily
combat
combat
long time
focused.
to wait, though.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
And,
but
I'm not even sure that that's true, because 3.0 is supposed to be bringing us cargo, and the Caterpillar has a tractor beam on it. So that's completely going to change the way you jump into areas like Yella and start going through these salvage points within the asteroid ring and other various derelicts or whatever you happen to come across. And how do we know how they're going to set it up so that players are generating missions for each other? Because I know most of you remember when 2.0 first dropped and we could fly around Crusader, how many times a day were people saying, hey, can someone come pick me up? And the rest of your stream was one SNR mission to find this one guy who forgot to take his freaking IFF beacon.
trying to figure all that out is just
And there's a lot coming in the next in 2.6 and 3.0 alone, just with the Caterpillar. that breeds a lot of potentiality for multi-crew play inside and outside of starships that I think is significant because it is at the core of Star Citizen. And for a long time now, we haven't been able to emphasize that. And so we need to get back to that.
And that's another thing, not to skip over anything, but when it comes to group play, and as far as their current roadmap, it really blew my mind that they weren't even worried about personal beacons and stuff like that till like, was it 3.4 or wait? I mean, because you would think all this stuff with name changes, all these things that would inhibit group play or would help engage us more in group play would be more in the forefront, right? Name changes, Star Marine team play. I'd want beacons now. I mean, if my buddy gets dropped off and leave him behind, I want to find him. These type of things there, I think should be more moved up closer to make us more.
It's going to be a big failure if personal beacons are not in with the 3.0 drop because it's almost impossible to find somebody right now, and that's only in the gravity well of Crusader. 3.0 is Stanton's system.
Here's my hope. When the Caterpillar drops into the game, either 2.6 or 3.0, wherever they end up dropping it, because it's rostered for both right now. When that drops, that's going to be the first time we get any form of a personal beacon, because I don't know if you guys remember the second special dive into Caterpillar when they were still developing it, but they already had onboard systems to track fellow crew members and their positions aboard the ship just by looking at the UI.
Well, and they had that in Star Marine today, if you noticed. The little radar was tracking the
the radar was there.
Why can't they take that coding and just drop it in? So whenever the Caterpillar drops in, there it is. It's in the game. Done deal. And they can just start building on that foundation.
Yeah, they may, because, there's no way. The other thing is you need very basic mechanic of warp to squad mate. Like, how are you going to jump to a squad mate? How can you go to there? There's like...
Oliwood just said.
Yeah.
Just give us the ability to see where we are. Like, push up something on our Moby glass that says, you're at coordinates XYZ.
And then be able to jump to those coordinates exactly.
Nighthawk, I'm at XYZ, and Nighthawk can start to come that direction.
And or you could input those and quantum drive to that location. It's like, here we go. I mean, something basic like that is inherently, if you want to support team play, these are the base mechanics we have to play as a group.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. There's no other way around it, or else it's like, no, more to your left. I see your ship. It's like you're the guy out there in space yelling at their. No, more to your right. My right, your right. Yeah. Go to the sun.
I'm all out of EVA fuel. I can't move, man.
And shooting with the pistol doesn't exactly work either.
Absolutely.
But I'm going to assume that if my suit computer has the capability to tell me where my teammates are based on their radios and location that way, and has the capability to tell me all this other information that it can do, that it can also use the stars to figure out where I am in space.
Absolutely.
That's something that we can do with a handheld computer right now that amateur astronomers do every night.
Well, if you can quantum drive,
they go, okay,
if you can quantum drive from A to B until there's nothing in between you that you're going to run into, you should be able to at least map from one static location to another in space. In general, I would hope, so it's like, otherwise it'd be everything's a dice roll where you could just like jump to Korea and maybe you'll hit some space particles that annihilate your ship while you're en route, It's supposed to have intelligent routing. But yeah, definitely. All right, so Eric, your first impression of the presentation versus Gamescom or even CitizenCon, what are your impressions on that?
I agree with Nighthawk. I think what we're seeing is hopefully what we'll see more of, and the slow transition into the stuff that CIG puts out being in lore and in universe. Yeah. And we might be seeing a hint of the things that are to come with the Spectrum system. I'm not talking about the forums. I'm talking about the Spectrum in game, with the ability to watch live streams from in-game, stuff like that they've talked about, and broadcasts. And that might be, I could see a future where Around the Verse is still coming out, but Around the Verse is in lore, in fiction, and you watch it on one of the MFDs on your Saber as you're patrolling some other place. And I think that's what we're looking at.
I'm glad you brought up Spectrum.
I'm throwing it up on the TV in my Phoenix while I'm in the jacuzzi.
I'm glad you brought up Spectrum real quick, because I want to say the amount of Spectrum conversation that we had in this presentation is exactly what we need. No more, no less. Just boom, give us a little update.
Oh, yeah.
Say, hey, it's going to be rolling out to Evocati for anybody else. They'll test these basic things, and then we'll move on. That's all we need. Couple questions answered. That was perfect.
So excited that I could barely catch my breath.
I know. But I did appreciate the quick updates, like boom, boom, answer about 3 questions. If they did that every time on an update for Spectrum, and then they just said, hey, we're going to roll it out hopefully soon to Evocati, and we'll move it on through that, and we'll see where it goes. That's fine. We don't need a half-hour presentation on Spectrum and what a potential lies in the void. I'm like, wow, I didn't sign up for this today.
Our forums do the same thing. Next slide. This is what chat does. Our chat does the same thing.
Yeah, except it has graphics and stuff. It's like, yeah, but definitely there. I'll tell you my quick impressions. Gamescom, absolutely loved it. CitizenCon, I feel like because of the void of not having Squadron 42, they basically said, okay, the best thing we can do is copy Gamescom and try to give a presentation exactly like that. And that's where they messed up with CitizenCon, because it was like, we're trying to recreate something that worked for us really well, and they tried to recreate it too much. The presentation by itself was pretty cool. The tech demo was pretty cool. We already know how everybody feels about Spectrum. The basic thing was I think it was too much cookie cutter and not enough meat and potatoes on that, and that's why people kind of walked away from CitizenCon a little bit like, yeah, it was good. I expect a little more, and blah blah blah.
It would have worked if they had Squadron 42 footage.
It would have, yes, because that was a different.
Is the moment they lost that footage, the entire design for the stream went out the window.
Yeah, they made a chocolate cake and they forgot to put the icing on it, and they just gave you a bunch of chocolate bread, and it was like,
all we got was the filler.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't get the main course.
But what I like about this one is they took keynotes from what worked out of those 2 presentations, brought it to the table, and did something a little bit different, so that way we didn't know this was like their playbook. It was almost like, they didn't start out with this formation, go boom, boom, boom. I like how they organically made it feel, so we didn't know what to expect. They incorporated some live gameplay in there. We got to see some of that. We got to see that natural interaction between the team and some of the community, and they went through the whole thing, and it felt really good. Now, I encourage them to keep dynamically looking at new ways to present stuff to us, because we're always excited when we first see it. If you copy this and don't give us good info, we'll probably ridicule you about it, because that's exactly what happens. It's just like
something else that they obviously have learned from, and hopefully we'll keep doing, is keep employing those streamers, especially the ones that are really charismatic, like DJ, like Twerk, like Baron, and all the streamers they had that first time around. There's others out there. Captain Flint's one I think of when I think of a charismatic Star Citizen streamer. People like that, because not only do they know how to engage the audience when the developers are kind of floundering, because let's face it, their job,
they do it every day,
isn't to engage us.
Yeah.
But these guys know how to engage the audience, but they also know the questions that the audience want answered.
Yep.
And that's a big important thing, because sometimes what CIG wants to tell us or what they think we want to hear is not what we really want to hear.
I still
they don't find that out until after the stream.
I still like how nervous Disco gets, though. When you put him for a camera, even after all the camera time he has, when he gets nervous, it lets it show that it's natural and he's excited and his adrenaline's going and stuff. And I love that it's not a rehearsed, like, here we are, now let's go to the guy. It's like that stuff it's a little too like, hey, I get paid like $100,000 a year to do presentations, and CIG hired me to do this one. It's like, I love that natural aspect.
Kay just says, except for Twerk, he just wanted to say thank you. I would like to point out, though, that during that sequence with Twerk, do you have anything you want to say to Chris? Because, you sit next to the man. They were focused on DJ Knight. DJ Knight looked terrified. I've never seen DJ look that nervous in his life. Like, his eyes were darting back and forth. He didn't know what to say to CR either. It was hilarious to watch. They were both just like, talk to Chris? No.
Yeah, I was, my chat when we were watching that live, everybody was like, well, it's a good thing Mitauchi isn't there. I was like, because I would be like, hey, what we need is a regular update on game mechanics, and then we could have that direct interaction where we could ask like real questions every week to you. I don't know, and we could call it maybe a live version of 10 for the chair. And it's like, well, that's why Mitauchi doesn't get invited to these things. So
see, I know how it would go with me. I have all these questions I'd love to ask Chris. But it would be one of those, what would come out is one of those stupid ass, like generic fan questions that you always like when you run into the musician you like, you ask that question instead
What's
of the
your
one
favorite joystick?
Yeah. What's your favorite song? And I could see my question to Chris be something like, what is it like living your dream? What are those just stupid?
God,
It's like,
Good thing you didn't go, because you would have been ridiculed by me forever over that one.
Oh yeah, that's why I don't talk to celebrities, because I always end up with the stupid ass questions.
No.
You guys should do what I did when I met all those guys at CitizenCon, and I just got shitty drunk, and it was just like inappropriate, rude, and said the most fucked up shit to Jay Lee. Were you? I don't like this. This really sucks. I used to be a really good pilot. What the fuck are you guys doing? But he still liked me. He still talked to me for like 45 minutes. When I went over, I was super shitty with disco, and I was like, "Nah, you're not that important." I'm a really nice, I'm a very kind drunk, but I so regret. Nighthawk was there. I was just like, "Meh." Hey, Zylo, how you doing, man? Hey, Chris.
You should have seen the way that he asked me to introduce him to Ben Lesnick. You basically could have put a bonnet on his head, given him a tiny little rattle, and just held him by the hand as he walked him across the room.
Wow, that's great.
He would not get
Hi,
out.
Mr. Lesnick. I just want to tell you, I really appreciate what you guys are doing. You guys are awesome. And I'm fucking shitty drunk, too, because, like, fucking Texas Skulls is buying me drinks, and, like, I'm wasted drunk. And it's my first night there. I'm starstruck meeting all these people. I see Chris Roberts right there, bouncing back and forth, meeting streamers. It's like, oh shit, fucking Nighthawk, come here, give me a hug. Oh man, they should. I want to invite me. I'll go.
So Moon was the uncomfortable mic. He was the headset mic close guy.
Big Shiner, drunk, throwing his arm around Chris Roberts' shoulder. You know what's wrong with your game? I'll tell you what's wrong with your game.
I think what you're doing, Chris Roberts, is great. It's really good. But why are people spawning on me? I used to be a really good pilot. This shit sucks right now.
But you know what, man? No matter what anybody else says, I still love you, man. I mean that. I love you, man.
I love you, man. You guys are doing really good. Yeah,
absolutely.
Never invite this guy.
I'm meeting guys. I'm like, how you doing? I'm in China. Are you a backer? He's like, no, I'm one of the design guys. Oh, you're a designer? Hi, man. Oh, dude, you guys are doing awesome.
Oh, wow.
Come here, man. You want to get one drink? You want a drink? What are you drinking, man? What are you drinking? I'm buying drinks for people. I don't got no fucking money. I got credit cards maxed right now. I'm still wondering how the hell did I do that?
Yeah,
that's fun.
No, I would say that I think I would probably not be invited back. Not for being rude to Chris, but for actually asking something that would probably make him feel uncomfortable and on the spot on his live stream. Because what a crazy time to ask Twerk that too. They're getting ready to roll out. It's like if you ask anything other than saying no, this has been a great experience, then it'd be like, oh, we're gonna have to keep it rolling because he's got to answer a question. Because Chris's answer would be like 20 minutes long too. So. Yeah.
No. Approximately 37 and a half minutes long, unless it's something he's interested in, and then it goes long.
There you go. No, but I thought the overall presentation was pretty good. I like the dynamics of it. I like the fact that, just like you guys said with the show, the car show and all that jazz, and I liked how they rolled out different things. Again, the camera work kind of disjointed me on that, where they were like cutting away, and I loved it. Like Sandy was like, they cut away from Sandy, and Sandy goes there, and she goes from this to like... Like she looked like very unhappy to be there for a moment. I was like,
material there.
I was like, whoa, that's
it is. It's already there. I posted it in the pub. People are green screening it already.
Yeah, I guarantee it. It was the worst possible shot they could have given us, like of her looking bored, because it's on a green screen. So now we can do just about anything. And
I think she might have realized she was on camera the last second again, because she started trying to smile again after she went from smile to nothing, then back to smile. I was like, oh. And then like all the audio all the time. And I don't know. I want to know who was shouting that they were on camera each time, because you heard him every time, because it sounded like a cat. It was back there every time they cut to Chris Sandy again. It would be like, no. It's like, so it's like, you're on screen again. It's like, you don't have hand signals or cue cards or like live or a light or something. I mean, come on. We could give you another $1 million. You could put a little lights as your live, and I don't know, something. It's like small guy with a flashlight. Anyway, so yeah, all that stuff was pretty cool. I went into this thing. I want to say something about the Prowler now. Let's address this, and then we're gonna get into question stuff. The Prowler. I went into this thing not seeing what the Prowler was, not thinking about it, and saw the price point that was released last week or whatever they were saying, like about the $425 or whatever it was going to be. And I was like, no effing way. A boarding ship that's $425. I have no interest in this. This thing's just going to be like some sort of whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then they showed it. And I was like, that thing is sexier than shit. I was like, that thing looks so badass to me. The fact that it went back to the aspect where it has like remote viewing, where it's like one-way panel where you can see through it, but they can't see in it. The fact you can deploy over 8 troops simultaneously at once. The fact they have personal shields over each door. And then if you raise those shields, they have like electronic magnetic fields to where you can't shoot in and hit the troop, but he can choose to deploy right in that moment if he's under fire. And the fact it has blades that come down that you can hide behind to deploy your troops into active combat is pretty fucking awesome. I really like
I know
this
they
fucking
talked
ship.
about how it's supposed to look like a bird of prey, or to me it looks like a praying mantis almost. It looks like an insect ready to attack, less than a bird ready to attack. And that's a good thing. That's a
I
like
think
that
with
look.
them deployed, and this is the image that I have for us to look at with it there that I saw on Imager. I think with this specific ship, this angle here looks like a bird. If it has the fins down and all that jazz, I think the angle
Are you
they
guys
have on the
listening to this
shot.
audio too?
Yeah, he went all robot.
Yeah.
Did I go
Okay.
robot
Went
again?
Red Dwarf again.
Damn it!
No, it's you're cutting out. It's not robot. It's like you're getting stutters or something. It's not the same.
I
as
feel like
before.
I'm watching Eric standing there, like it's like it's got like a bulldog,
Yes, it is very much the
big
the
old
pose of
fucking
the
muscle.
dragon.
It's just
Yeah.
like, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, it does look like something that's ready to commit to some serious business. Right there.
Doesn't it kind of have a look like a wasp or something? Oh, echo.
Oh, is that you, or is that me, or is that me?
That was you
me
again.
making me. Oh.
It's still you.
Can I say something kind of controversial?
Yes.
Probably.
Go ahead.
All right, so like
Question is, will you?
a long time ago, I hear echo.
Echo.
I don't hear the echo.
Okay, let's everybody talk at once so we get as many echoes
It's
going
okay.
as we possibly can.
I'll just pretend like
So you want us all to be talking
My
at the
iPhone.
same
Yeah,
time
let's
right
all
now to make
talk
sure
at the
that we
same
have the
time
echo?
and-
Oh, he killed the echo.
Damn it.
Yeah, I don't know
One
what I
time-
did to kill the echo, but the echo has died.
echo is dead. A long time ago, they posted like that possible like picture of what the Vandal boarding ship would be like. It's got that boring thing on it.
Mm-hmm.
Expecting something like that. I'm thinking like, how is it going to attach to a ship? How is it going to board onto it? I'm thinking in my head, okay, Star Trek Beyond, those things that are attaching into the Enterprise, like that. I'm thinking, how is this like a boarding ship? And I feel like this is like a boarding ship for an Idris, or it's a boarding ship it's a drop ship.
Yeah, apparently it's not supposed to be able to attach to other ships.
Nope,
It was one of the
nothing
things that
will
was,
anymore.
like put out today. So yeah,
I was boarding. What am I boarding with it?
I don't know, but I mean those slots on the side open up, so maybe it's just literally you shoot your infantry out and hope for the best.
Well, up to this point,
We're gonna EVA pilots on top of a constellation. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's Skype taking a shit because I'm losing you guys in and out on audio sometimes. But basically, from my understanding, is nothing's going to attach to ships anymore. There's no way to attach to ships. They couldn't get that mooring thing to work, so you're going to have to EVA to board anything. That's just how it's going to work. Because even you see on the rework of the Cutlass, it's a sliding door. You jump out the side, and that's like the boarding
if that's
looting
the thing,
mechanism.
then they're going to have to do a full redesign again on the damn Caterpillar, because that was part of the part of the design behind it was that it could attach to other ships.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be very bad.
Well,
God, no.
Yeah, I don't think it can. I don't think it can attach because when they were talking about with those airlocks and stuff, where two ships could link together, they couldn't get the mechanic to work because it was basically destroying both ships because too many
My
moving
guess
parts of
is
velocity and
the
all that
problem
stuff.
has to do with the local physics grids again. Transferring between those physics grids has been one of the biggest pains in the asses they've had to deal with.
Yep. Because basically it's like trying to make two physics grids become one, right? Through an airlock system, and then it's like, and I think it just breaks the game at this point. And I don't think it's something they think they can actively solve in any amount of time. And I think the answer to that you're seeing in the redesign of these ships
coming in the next 2 months was something they weren't going to be able to do a year ago. So
I know that's
It
true,
could
but
change in
at
the
this
future.
point, I kind of hope they don't fix it because they're designing all their boarding craft and all their other stuff to now be EVA ready, where you can just open a door, jump out, and go. That if they do that, then the next thing is, well, we got to redesign this again, and I'm like, oh God, please don't do that. Just move forward at this point. Let's get some game mechanics in, and so we can get to, like Nighthawk says, some non-combat stuff. Because if they keep reworking all the combat stuff till it's like so perfect, we're gonna be like, oh my God, by the time we get to an Endeavor and farming in under a glass bubble, it'll be like 25. It would be crazy. So I really think that I'm okay with the EVA aspect. I'm okay with that. I think as long as they allow us to mag boot eventually again or attach something to the stuff, there you go.
Yeah,
So.
we need mag boot.
Mag boots need to make a comeback.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Ship, if I'm like pirating it, if I'm trying to like break in, I need,
Yeah, some attack, grappling hooks, mag boots, something. Let me attach to something so I can be physically part of that ship, so I can work lock, so I can breach doors, so I can do any of that stuff, and I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let's get everybody's impressions. You've heard mine. Let's go, Moon. Obviously, you seem like you like this ship.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And somebody said it's a Redeemer killer, and maybe it is.
I think I love the Redeemer, and I agree. I think this, and we'll see what the redesign of the Redeemer looks like. But I mean, my God, this is supposed to be the best, biggest troop carrier, they say, with all the defense capabilities. The only thing I can say is Redeemer's got a lot of guns for ground fire support, but
and the Redeemer can also open walnuts.
Oh,
yes,
this is
that's
true.
very true.
I forgot all
Cosmic
about that.
Walnuts.
Yes,
Cosmic walnuts. Yeah, no other ship can do that.
Yeah,
I think when you look at the Prowler and you look at the Redeemer, it very clearly says a difference between a boarding ship, like a drop ship, which is what the Prowler is, versus a gunship, which is really more what the Redeemer is. It's a gunship with drop capabilities.
Right.
So they're almost two different classes of ship. The thing that really excites me most about this beautiful Tavaran ship is the fact that it's the first time we're really getting insight into the Tavaran as a species, as a culture, as something that lives, breathes, and exists within Star Citizen. And even more exciting is actually a part of the human sphere of power. So readily, it's an alien species you can interact with and you can start to study. And if you want to, get into exploration through, because there's a whole history there to be rediscovered, not only by humans, but by the very people you're studying. Yeah. So this is really exciting because...
And if you look at the Tavaran themselves, the concept art that's come out today, and look at the Prowler, both of them are just the ship is designed almost to look like it's people. I don't know how else to describe that, but it's a truly alien look for everything. Just like the Kartu'al is a truly alien looking ship, in that aspect. These don't look like any other the traditional science fiction spaceships. They look like something more out of anime. Both of those ships do. And
that's really helping to fill out the world, because up until now we've basically only experienced the same single male human AI
and the other aspect I like that when they mentioned the Tavaran as a people, when they were talking about this, oddly enough, during the pre-show, right, when they were talking about some of the stuff and they kind of mentioned it, they mentioned the word Bushido. And I was like, wow, my ears picked up there. So it gave it a very, Eastern philosophy type background to this race of people. And I was like, now I'm very interested, because that whole warrior class with the honor system and caste system and stuff, I was like, that would be so cool to be able to
what
look
does that tell us about the Tavaran's relationship with the Xi'an, too? Because the Xi'an are obviously Chinese influenced.
Correct.
And the Tavaran are then obviously, Japanese influence in both the look and, like I said, the culture. So that tells us a lot about the subtext or possible subtext of the relationship between those two species and how that could affect the stories in the verse.
Yeah, and I look forward to that. And to me, that would mean that they don't naturally like each other very much, probably, you know, and very, very similar to where, you know, when the Japanese government historically, not to go on a history lesson, but when they start to westernize, right, and they start to get rid of all their samurai and all this stuff, I looked at maybe that's also reflective on like the United Planets when they actually attacked and like basically wiped out the rest of the Tavaran and stuff like that. It's like the westernizing of the culture in Japan. I think they're going to draw parallels to some of that, where you saw the end of the samurai, right? So maybe this would be a race of people that, you know, are still discovering their own history and that, you know, we can interface with on that level. I think it'd be really cool, though. So I'm really looking excited for... I want to see what their handheld weapons are like. Because I guarantee they're going to have some badass melee weapons and stuff as a warrior race. They're going to have some cool shit.
Is that why they lost? Is that why they're a warrior race?
I can see that, though, right? Because in
they were only melee.
Well, maybe, or they had that whole
and their
honor...
armor was made of wood.
It could even go beyond that. Maybe as a warrior culture...
What's going to win?
Well, think about this. Maybe as a warrior culture, their philosophy was more honorable and like they wanted to fight you straight up, or their fighting style was entirely different. Like they came directly at their enemy, just like, you know, the samurai did. And then when they met firearms, it was like they were mowed down. It could have been the same thing. Maybe the UE basically won because we play dirty as humans, and they were more an honorable warrior race. So that honestly could be a whole thing. We just have to wait and find out. And I'm excited to find out the history of this. So it's going to be really cool. But yeah, that would lead to the fact, because even if you look at their ship, right? It's not heavy based like the gunship is on the Redeemer, where it has tons of guns to defend a few people. They're definitely coming out like, we're going to send a bunch of dudes at you instead of like focusing on the ship capability to fight. We're focused on it being the Trojan horse defense, and our people are going to come tear you up. So whereas the humans probably relate more on technology and a lot of firepower, they relate more on like, we're going to get at you with our smaller arms and our hand weapons maybe. So that'd be interesting.
You know what I definitely see a similarity between? Have you guys ever seen the movie Final Fantasy Spirits Within?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I just posted it in the Space Bro text chat. Take a look at that. Take a look at that concept art, and then the next link is the toy of the toy standing on its arms. It's very similar.
Yep, that is true. It's got that kind of body framing style. Let me see.
Yep.
I'll see if I can't pull that up for everybody else to see.
Maybe show the toy. The toy is very similar when standing on its arms.
Eric, let's get your impressions about the dropship and stuff like that real quick, and then we'll move on through.
Like I said, I like the fact that it's very alien in design. It doesn't look like what we think of. It doesn't look like dropships when we think of dropships, for one thing. You know, everybody thinks of the dropship from Aliens when they think of a dropship, and pretty much just about any other movie has had some sort of variation of that. So there's that aspect of it. The other is it reminds me of, it gives me that same feeling that the Apache does. That again, you know, they say bird of prey, I say insect. That aggressive insect, that hunter shape to it, and I've always loved that thing. You know, if you've ever seen an Apache actually in action, in operation, it is terrifying even when you're on its side. Like when one of those fuckers hovers over you and the pilot is looking at you and that frickin' minigun tracks your movement.
Yeah, that Vulcan is frightening.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
And it's one of those little psychological aspects that I love about the Apache, and the Prowler has that look, that same aggressive, terrifying, I don't want to kill you,
Yeah.
I want to, you know, murder you.
Yeah.
You know, I want you to die in agony and terror kind of look.
Exactly. And we have that image that Moon was talking about there the similarities are hard not to call out.
It's
there.
super avian. I mean, you can almost see a beak.
If you look at the
on
comparison,
Prowler.
but look even on the side doors.
Yeah.
It's got 3 deploy doors on that.
I'm just looking at that now. Yeah, that's
Yeah. And then look at now, given this one has the hover pads and stuff like that, but like the articulating wings, and even look at the back, it doesn't have the secondary fin, but if you took the secondary fins off, kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously this has no cockpit on the Tavaran, and this one has an actual You know, you can see the little bubble on the nose there, like actual glass cockpit. But there are
That's the
similarities
other
in
thing
style.
about the Prowler that's awesome is it's going to be the first ship we see that does not have a two-way cockpit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really
something
cool.
I've been looking forward to seeing because that was promised. Originally, the Car 2 was supposed to be like that.
Yes.
And they couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it with the car to wall.
No.
Because I don't know why. They can do it with this.
Yeah. I don't know. Technology has advanced. So yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
it's super avian, and they are like an avian kind of warrior Bushido race. And this thing is a bird.
Yep.
It's a bird.
Very clear.
I mean, its eyes, it's, not those blue eyes, and
Yeah.
I don't know. And also, like, I'm not against them actually kind of like ripping the idea from Final Fantasy, because I think they've kind of in the past
Well, look at
made like an homage.
every
sci-fi
cool
of the
game.
past.
Homage to sci-fi.
Every
I mean,
cool
so-
game
Yeah,
samples,
exactly.
like if we even go to the Dragonfly, I mean, it's obviously after the speeder bike type concepts and stuff like that, but it has its own flair on it, right? It's got all these different elements to it that are there. So I don't mind any of that. I mean, even in EVE Online, they take the best aspects of things from Star Trek and Star Wars and things like that, and they incorporate them into their own types of ships and
Here's-
stuff.
The reality of stuff like that. Nighthawk can back me up on this. He's also a writer and a creator. I mean, he's got I believe that's one of his creations sitting right there behind him.
yes, sir.
An amazing creation, by the way. But
Thank you.
1 in a million creators truly create something that's new, that is never before seen. Everybody else, we are retelling the same stories in our own way, essentially. And I think Mark Twain essentially said that. And what who was it that just said it in chat? That's a variation of a Mark Twain quote, actually, that talent borrows, genius steals. Mark Twain said something along the lines of why borrow a story when I can steal or why borrow a good story when I can steal a great story? Things like that.
Yep. And we're looking at now, guys, we're looking at some of the walkthrough on some of the capital stuff, which I think it's just sexy. It's super sexy. And I love the fact we're seeing them not barren now and with actual AI in them.
Yes.
That's exciting to me to no level. Because, I mean, we've always seen these pan-throughs. And given I do agree with Eric and the other guys that this is probably pullouts from what we were going to see in the vertical slice of Squadron 42. And I'm totally okay with that. It's just...
It looks like the opening sequence fly through to any science fiction movie. Like as they're introducing there it is. There's the required.
Yep.
It is by law that in every science fiction movie made from 1979 onwards, a spaceship or 1977 onwards, a spaceship must fly over the camera. At the start of it. That's by law. It's written in ink. You don't do that, then you're not a real.
And at the end of
fiction
it, it's okay to
producer.
do the overhead pan when it's panning away, just to see the scale of it in the universe and how big the universe still remains. Because the first thing gives you the impression of how big the ship is. The last scene gives you an impression of this might be a mighty ship, but look how vast the universe is to play with this toy in here. So it's really good. And I believe, I can't remember the dev's name, who's in charge of the capitals and all that stuff. We always see him on a lot of the ATVs and all that. And he was there during the pre-stream. But he described it so well. And he's also the guy who worked on Aliens and all the other IPs and stuff previously. But he talks about that, and he calls those things out. Like the first impression you got in Star Wars, the scene you knew when you saw the Star Destroyer come over what that intention and purpose was without describing anything. And I'm so excited to have him on this team because he recognizes that. It brings those famous elements of like what we love to see in things like Aliens and Star Wars and Star Trek into this world. And, he just has even that little bit of input just makes it that much greater.
That goes back to what we were just talking about, the quotes, borrowing or stealing or retelling somebody else's story. It's not just enough to know that this story works and retelling it. You also need to know what makes it work. You can, and we see this all the time. There are dozens of movies and video games and whatnot out there that are basically carbon copies of Star Wars that suck. There are 1 or 2 out there that are essentially carbon copies of Star Wars that are awesome. And that's because those directors, those producers, they got those little differences. It wasn't just, you don't just copy it. You have to understand why copying it works to make it work for you.
Yep. And here's the other update on the Caterpillar, which I thought was really cool to see if I can get to the right spot. Where Ben's talking about the cat and all that stuff, where it actually shows the different subsections of how the front end opens up and some of the mechanics of it.
Yeah.
Talk about looking evil, by the way.
Oh,
that
wow.
red color scheme with the red. Oh, man.
So badass.
I'm so excited for that show.
I know.
Yeah.
I am too. I'm super happy that I picked one up.
I was standing fully at attention when that happened, and I was sitting in my chair. That's all
There
I'm
you
gonna
go. There you go. Absolutely. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't wait to just dive in more into that. And
Dude, it turned out so much bigger. Like just looking at that old picture, it's a Matchbox compared to what it is now. That's
You
amazing.
know, Moonshiner, that's not the first time you've said that to me.
Yeah.
The Striker says too much. No, it's not on, too much information on Space Bros. Have you never
Yeah.
watched this show before?
Yeah, we're not full perverse the verse or anything, but we do have our moments, so but absolutely. Yeah, it's just exciting to see these things come together.
I just now suddenly got a picture in my head of drunk Shiner at some convention or whatever, walking up to a designer, throwing his arm around his shoulder, going, that thing turned out so much bigger than it was supposed to be.
Yep, and the mouth on it is just crazy. It's like, what are we talking about now? What's going on? It's like I feel uncomfortable.
Caterpillar's so big. Yeah.
I wonder if Chris and them ever get in a situation where they feel unsafe and they have like private security somewhere in the wings that you don't know, and it's just other people. It's like
if I had to deal with us, I would feel unsafe all the time. You know,
I bet Chris doesn't, but I bet Sandy's kind of like hit and miss, like, 20 minutes with everybody. Okay, I'm out. I gotta go. It's like some people would.
I heard Gamescom, Sandy had a lot of nervous laughs at people from when they would say something or people would be like, yeah, this is, and she'd just be like, that kind of, all right, I'm out of here. Yeah. I picture Jurassic Park when what's his name, the frickin' the programmer Nedry, when he's dealing with the Dilophosaur and he's like, okay, and walks away. That's when I hear these stories about Sandy. That's exactly what I picture her doing. She's like,
I like how they always take time to show the toilet. Like they take a little extra time to they'll flip down to this deserves at least 3 to 5 seconds.
All the way, God, what I think it was the original reveal of the Cutlass.
Mm-hmm.
No, it wasn't the Cutlass. It was, but yeah, one of these. It was one of the first ships that was a multiplayer ship that was showed up, and it didn't have a toilet in the reveal, and people went insane. They're like, "There's no toilet on the ship," and there wasn't a toilet. It's just they never shot it. And now ever since then, they always show the freaking toilet.
Now it's complete. This is complete final guys because it has a toilet.
Yep.
I don't know.
Hey
But
man, when you
the
need to
ship
go, you
looks
need to go.
badass. See, I love how they show. Oh yeah, by the way, here's your Drake Dragonfly. Just love that. It's so good, man.
Dude, that
I can't
interior
wait.
cockpit. I'm watching it on oh dude, that looks so good.
Yeah.
I'm 30 seconds behind.
I hate to hate
so
on
good.
everybody, but F your Starfarers. This ship's badass. I get lost in your Starfarers. I like why. This is a gas truck, right? This is just a big gas truck, and I'm getting lost in it like it's the mall. It's like, what is happening? But this is awesome. I can't wait.
That's we talk about that, and then I start thinking about my Carrack, and I really hope that it's that Carrack is like the Caterpillar in that it's just a straight shot, because I'm never going to find the cockpit of my Carrack from my captain's quarters if it's anything like the Starfarer with the size of it.
You couldn't find your cockpit with both hands. No. No, this
I'm going to have
awesome.
a crew member whose entire job is to stand outside whatever room I'm in and lead me back to where I need to be.
Yep. It's so good.
Can I say I kind of love that they showed off this pad right here, because I don't know if you've done it in ArcCorp where you go over where the buggies are and you break through the wall, and I don't know if this is that spot, but
it looks a lot like it though, doesn't it?
It looks like it, definitely.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like the fact
you could stand on top of those boxes, and then you could hop over the fence and walk along the outside of the building and slide down the front to get
that's
into
where
it.
the Connie is sitting. It's still there. That's a different pad. This
Connie?
is over by the more industrial area, I think.
Yeah, the new industrial area.
the third landing pad.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I also like when they pan over and they show the side door open on this thing. that they showed the side with the catwalk and that you still can unload and load and on that side, because that was a huge debate with people like, oh, that won't work, that's got the catwalk on the side. I'm like, nope, both sides open, and they show that in there, and they show it opens right up.
There is
no
something
problem.
that's going on here that I haven't seen anybody comment on, and I've been debating in my head all day long if what I'm seeing or what I think is happening is what I'm seeing, but the lighting is different in ArcCore, which could very well mean that they are actually shooting this on the ArcCore planet with the from the 3.0
Oh, that's a very
release with the moving the sun around. It could also mean they just adjusted the lighting in the level, but
because maybe
so
I always thought it looked too beautiful, right? It is supposed to be very smoggy. I mean, it's like a super industrial. You would think it'd have days of like this overcast like type
That's
thing.
what I'm saying, Cyberwolf. It's nighttime. It's sunset at one shot, and then it's nighttime in the others. So that's my wonder: is this not in the new procedural planet system that they're currently working on right now?
Well, I'm also, now that you're talking about it, I'm looking closer, and it looks like they have some vignetting going on the camera as well. So they could be doing some high contrast lighting to try and really do like the supermodel style beauty lighting on the piece.
Yeah.
Try and fake that magic hour glow.
Well,
there is one other thing going on though, and
look right here at the end on the last few
smog,
seconds of
fog,
this.
Yeah, the clouds that are in the buildings, that is definitely new.
Yeah, but if you look at the very end shots here, and I rewound it a little bit there again, when they pan up and they show the Drake interplanetary and all that stuff, it's you see the sun. This is like it could be towards dusk, maybe even arguably, but its sun's pretty high up in the air. So it might just be like, they have in China. Maybe this is a smog alert day. Because I mean, it gets that bad in areas of the world right now, in high industrial zones. So I couldn't imagine an entire planet having an ozone day. I mean, it's pretty bad.
And humanity's view in the future is, hey, okay, so it takes us 10,000 years to kill a planet. Why bother worrying about it? We'll find another one.
You just go farm another one and do that, and there you go.
No problem.
Yep, no problem at all.
Yeah, the sun is out. Looking at that,
Yep, it's out. So, I'm trying to find it now. There's they talk about some of the Herald stuff, and I'm excited about the Herald. I've seen enough of it here. I don't really care about it until I fly it now because I just want it. But I've noticed that like every time he mentions the Herald, he adds more stuff it can do. Like now, I didn't know it could like map out like solar systems and say, oh, where you want to go out and map out or data run I'm like, wait a minute, it's a mapper? You can do maps with this thing now? And I'm like, I don't remember that. And I even looked back at my notes, and I don't remember it ever saying that. I used to be able to hack.
Well, to be fair, though, have we ever had a dev talk to us that was that obviously stoned out of his mind as that guy was?
Oh, man.
Hey, man, they got that medicinal out there. It's legal. It's okay.
Hey, I got no problem with him doing it. But I'm just saying, he seemed pretty.
Hey, if he keeps cranking out, he can.
More likely, he was exhausted, he was stoned out of his mind,
or both. But either way, whatever he's doing, I'm happy with it because when you start to look at how he's reworked this Cutlass, oh my God! I can be honest with you guys. I think the Cutlass as a concept, I was really into. Never cared for the actual model of the ship. I'm starting to get into it a little bit here.
Yeah,
I'm starting to like it. And the first thing that turned me off the Cutlass was the cockpit in the original build. It was like, you got to slide over all this. I'm like, and it has no ejection seats, and I got to wait for my co-pilot to slide over so I can get it. No, he's like, you have none of that problem now. It's all, it's all polished out. You can walk up there easily. You tubbed out the back a little bit more. It
looks straight.
Yeah.
It looks industrial.
Yeah.
The sleek lines of the current
he's defined it a little different though, right? I mean, his influence on both the Herald and the Cutlass, in my opinion, have made Drake look a little different overall. Because you can see here, like in this concept, and we'll freeze it there for a minute. That's badass, dude.
Yeah, you said that gray box in the background? Yeah.
That's...
Oh, dude. This is the difference of like the night and day with the old Constellation and the new Constellation.
Yep.
Like the other one was cool. Listen, we all loved the Constellation back in the day. We all fell in love with this Cutlass, but the new is just the bee's knees, and it looks actually, it's more like representative of its original concept art.
Yeah. And is it just me, or for some reason I want to ride in the engine and put a gun on those things back there because it looks like it's
it looks like they have almost like they're
right on top of
detachable
it,
ships of their own. Like,
yeah,
wouldn't that be great if they were like little detachable mini shuttles that you could?
Or that was the
pods.
The escape pods turn into heralds. They just bust off and they're just all engine and they just bust off. I was like, oh my god!
All right, boys, go get them.
Yeah, go get them. Just chase them off.
Just go.
Yeah, that'd be great,
pirate
man.
ship.
So, yeah, I mean, look at you got the living quarters, the boards, the sliding. I mean, it's badass, dude. So good. If you're even remotely, chat, interested in the Cutlass, buy it now because I guarantee this is going to jump in price, 100%.
Yeah. We're gonna get a yellow variant of it now.
Well, you have to, right? That's the way all that stuff goes.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't care about Spectrum.
You know what I like about this is this looks like what I would picture a true starter cargo ship to be. Like, based on the I don't know if you guys played Privateer or Privateer 2, but the early era cargo freighters, or even in Freelancer, I guess, they were fairly heavily armored for being a cargo ship, but they were also lumbering a bit. But they were just these bulky looking, basically boxes for hauling a little bit of cargo with guns slapped around them, and that's what that Cutlass rework looks like, and I love it.
This cracks me up. Is like, I'm just keeping it there for a second, like the Prowler art contest thing, because I'd see like, oh, that's badass. What the hell? Did my daughter make that? And then I go through.
Guana's on here. Guana got robbed.
You got robbed?
Guana
got robbed.
Guana's a testy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's our unofficial official art person for Test Squad.
Oh really?
Oh, poor Guana.
Yeah.
No, but that was awesome though.
I won't stay on this too long, but I wanted to see the shot with the lighting and the hover little pads active on it because it looks badass. So good. Yeah, I'm excited about that ship.
And that's pretty much all they talked about today, right? I think we're done.
Yeah, I think that's a wrap. We're done with that.
Yeah, pretty much.
They sat on the couch a lot. And I'm sorry, this is the most uncomfortable looking shot. It's like, you ever been over somebody's house? Like I'm talking specifically about Chris Roberts right now. You ever go to somebody's house and they have that really you sink in sofa where you try to look like you're naturally comfortable, and if you were home alone in your drawers laying on it, you'd be fine. But when you're trying to sit up and talk to people interface, and you're like down in it's like, that's exactly what I feel like with that. It's like, this is the most inappropriate furniture for this thing ever. You've been up there. He obviously isn't comfortable, and everybody else is sunk 1.5 feet below his height. I'm just like, this is just terrible.
No,
no.
Actually, Ben is that big.
Yeah, Ben is tall as fuck. He is 2 inches shorter than Commander Shepard. Ben Lesnick is
he's a big guy.
6'6", 6'5". He is tall as fuck.
Yeah. Well, then maybe they should have sat him on the couch and Chris should have sat in the chair because it didn't work out the whole height-wise stuff.
Yeah, I saw him stand up. I was like, "Hello, sir."
Hello, sir.
I'm 6 foot myself, but I mean, him and no, I'd say probably taller than 6'4". He is maybe 6'5", 6'6". He's just about as tall as Shepard, and Shepard is a really tall dude as well.
Shepard is a mountain.
Yeah, he is the mountain.
Game of Thrones. He's the stand-in. So now I was like, now we're going to show a little bit of the Star Marine here in the background. So we'll just jump forward to that, and then we'll get right into questions for you guys. Obviously, we've done some long episodes in the past. We've done a lot of short episodes of the Space Pro Show, but this one had a lot of content. So give me your guys' impressions on what you saw for Star Marine based on the live stream today, And who wants to start? Does Moon want to start? We'll start with Eric.
I'd like to start as one of the non-FPS players here.
Okay.
I'm not really a big FPS player, so
okay, go ahead.
And one of the reasons why I'm not a big FPS player is the movements in many FPSs, the camera and all that. It doesn't feel real to me. You know, a lot of times it's artificially sped up to make the game more action-packed and whatnot. And in the ones that try to keep it realistic, they always seem to get a little janky. You know, like Arma is a great example of that. It's realistic, but it's harder than hell to control sometimes. This looks like they've bridged that gap really well between realistic movements and still being fluid and fast-paced. And I'm liking the look of it. But I don't know, you know, as somebody who doesn't really play competitive FPS, this might be a horrible way to go for when it comes to competition players and people who are really into it. They might not like this at all. So,
okay, Nighthawk.
Well, first thing that I took note of were all the new character animations in place. I actually really enjoyed just watching the third-person camera and seeing the characters move around and really appreciating that very natural flow that they had to them. I'm a fan of FPS games. I play them from time to time. I did it in real life, so I don't like to do much in video games, but this is something I would definitely play and have been looking forward to playing for some time. I'm still not sure if I want to play it yet because, to be frank with you, I was more interested in the EVA combat arena, the SATA ball arena, whatever that was.
Yeah.
So this presentation was slightly lackluster for me because I was hoping that instead of just getting this Echo 11 base, we would also get the EVA combat and see what some of that was going to look like. But like I said, I'm going to play it. It's Star Citizen. How could I not?
Absolutely. At least test it out and feel.
One of the things I did notice, that's in my opinion a great improvement. I didn't hear a single ping during the entire stream.
You didn't hear the Mario tokens going off?
No,
like the little
not a single
Actually,
coin
I
was
swore
dropped.
I feel like I did.
Or the
There wasn't any of that?
I didn't hear any. If it's there, they've definitely toned it down so it's not so.
Well,
right
they were
up in your
talking
face as
so
it was
much
before.
smack. How could you hear it? I mean, to be honest, they were literally talking. They were jarring it up, not only communicating with their teams, like talking smack to each other so much. And I love DJ's technique of like trying to confuse the other team repeatedly. It'd be like, all right, they're getting B, and he'd be like, no, there's nothing to see at B. There's nothing to see at B at all. You know, because they're all in the same comms. So it was like if they were literally looking at each other, going, what? So Moon, what was your first impressions, and what do you think overall?
I'm super excited. You're kind of like me. We do a lot of FPS.
Yeah,
we do
might
a lot
dabble.
of stuff like Korea. we dabble.
Yeah.
this is what you and me. This is what we do in Star Citizen currently. So I'm super excited. I really enjoy the current FPS. I like the way it feels. I like how it's somewhat more realistic, and sometimes it's not so janky. It's pretty decent. Again, the new animations, the grenades. I like the shooting through glass. Popping into EVA. I agree. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more EVA combat, but the way the map is, it's kind of like all over the place with different levels and stuff like that. Back hallways. It was. I guess this is like not capture the flag. This is.
It's like a domination.
It's kind of like it's a domination map.
You have to cap the point, and this you have to physically interface with the terminal, which I find is cool because it takes you out of the equation, right? You cannot facilitate combat like on a battlefield map. I can hunker down, I can cover the zone while I'm capping and be defensive. Here, you're just holding your gun, and it's like, I got to hold this button to do this. So if you don't have somebody watching your back, you're just out there. Like, you see this guy get owned right there.
In like a lot of the stuff that we see right now, where they're going to be coming for you, and you're not going to really know because there's just so much going on in the environment.
Yep.
And you're definitely going to
the
get
whole
shot in the back
team,
of the head a whole bunch.
because they're keeping it not hyper realistic and they're keeping it very simulator oriented and all that stuff. You can see when the enemy starts to cap something, right? So you can see it the minute that it starts to go. So I got to react and get there. So the competition on this, All my hopes and dreams of this maybe became a minor ear sport, which besides this bug, I love this bug, where he's floating 10 feet up in the air when he spawned.
That was great.
And he couldn't get through the doors because he's
they
too
didn't
tall.
mention it. That was the funny part.
They didn't. They just played it off like,
Walk
it's not happening. I'm like,
They didn't even change the camera. They stayed there and let us watch him walk into walls.
Watch. He's like, camera stuff professional. Let's keep him on that for 20 seconds instead of seeing whatever people are actually doing. I love that. Oh my gosh. No, but I can say one thing. The first thing I saw that like got me super excited was sights on guns. I can see there's sights on the guns again. Not that I use them. I've kind of got used to hip fire, much like we're seeing Twerk use there. But shooting out the glass and the EVA and the fluidness of how the EVA works with interfacing with the pads, I'm so hyped about because now it's so jinky, right? You jump out, you can turn to a space butterfly, and then you hope that your arms twist back into formation so you can get your gun out when you hit the tarmac again.
Right.
But yeah, and the really thing that we were talking about before the show even, you can see the radar system. So I can see in proximity where my friendlies are. Right? It doesn't reveal the whole battleground like here's a red dot for the bad guy, but it does show me where my teammates are in reference to my position so I can know if they can get to me or if not, how fast they can respond if something goes down. I would like to add some new mods to the suits, hopefully in the future, where maybe you can see the enemy based on your friend, like line of sight. Like if Twerk sees him, my radar would interface, these are red dots because he saw them through line of sight there, so I can flank and maneuver.
I'm pretty sure that's coming.
And I'm sure there'll be some sort of like scan technology that shows you where everybody is within a certain radius, like based on movement or whatever. But it doesn't necessarily tell you if they're friendly or enemy, that kind of thing.
But I think you should have to give up something on your loadout for that capability too, a trade-off, you know what I mean? So I love that because then it makes your overall team aspect more fluid. Like one guy's like maybe a shotgun, he's got a scanning ability, and the other guys maybe can carry grenades or have more defensive armor, and they're not in a scout platform to do that. So there's so many good things I saw in this, and I'm super excited. And yeah, I'm really seeing where this could become like our own private esport because they built it. This is so fun to watch. And I don't like watching FPS. As much as I enjoy playing it, it bores me to tears to watch somebody else do FPS usually. I mean, outside of Battlefield, because it's a major dynamic battlefield. But Call of Duty, you couldn't pay me to watch somebody play Call of Duty ever. I don't mind playing it sometimes, but I can't stand to watch it. But this, like you guys said, just fast enough to where it makes you feel integrated into the game, but not so fast where it's like, what just happened? You're actually involved in the moment and stuff. And I imagine I'm going to watch this video itself several times just because it's really entertaining to watch, and there's so many different dynamics I kind of want to figure out on how it works. Like, I'm still trying to figure out when they go from one zone to another through that shield. Like, what's going on with that, because they go into a different area. Is that like
I think it's probably both an airlock and, based on what I saw in some of the combat shots, also that electromagnetic shield that they were talking about that's on the Prowler, actually.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering,
Can I say I like and I dislike the glass? Like, I like that...
It looked weird, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it definitely needs work, because like I like how they kind of did the Division thing where if you shoot at the glass, it breaks in that one spot.
Yeah.
But then there's sometimes like where it just like disappears the entire thing. But like this is space glass in 2946, shouldn't it not be breaking from like ballistics or micro asteroids or things like that?
Maybe they're badass ballistics. I have no idea, but
I know. Space glass.
But the thing, it's
transparent aluminum.
Wouldn't it be cool if when you first break it, like here's some EVA right there, EVA shooting. The only time I saw it in the whole thing. You still have that aspect where you're very rigid when you EVA. You can get in this locked position. And I assume that's just because the way you would do it if you wanted to support a weapon and EVA across, But I like how you're not in running man mode now, right? Because in the current build, when you're EVAing in your ADS, in what we have right now, you look like you're running holding still. Like you're not moving your feet, but you're like, you get that shoulder motion when you're in EVA and you're aiming down sights. Now it looks like they go into like a fetal position, like what you would picture somebody who's going to jump off a platform but still be combat action ready to have a weapon, and be able to actually interface with it. it looks a lot more natural to me. Not that I'm an expert on EVA and supporting weapons, but I think it looks
Okay, so
better.
no, you know what? Right there, the bullets did go through the barrier that time.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So I'm thinking well, it's obviously an airlock because there are situations where they run through it right outside, where
Yeah.
an airlock would normally be on the map design base. So it obviously serves as some sort of airlock kind of system.
Yeah.
But there was definitely shots in it where it seemed to be blocking the bullets too.
Maybe it's just energy weapons that it blocks, not ballistics.
That
Could be,
interesting.
or
too.
it could be that it's not working on all of them. So,
This is true
That's
too.
true.
I think it'd be cool is if you
It says
shot
Star
the first
Citizen
person who
after all.
shoots the glass, it like totally depressurizes there, and you see shit fly around when you first shoot it. That'd be kind of cool. And
Is
then
it
maybe
weird that
shield
one of
comes
the
down.
things that just keeps jumping out at me over and over and over again as we watch this video is no use button?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the inner thoughts instead.
I like that.
Yeah, with the laptop. Speaking of the laptop, I know a book is a book. Whether a book came out 1,000 years ago or technology is still very much the same. But like in 900 years, we're still gonna have thick ass laptops.
That-
I mean, the
not
new
even
the new
today's
MacBook is
laptop.
like this
Yeah.
thin. The new MacBook is this fucking thin. But like we got this big ass fucking
Space
laptop.
laptops.
All
That's
right,
the freaking
space laptop.
ThinkPad.
Yeah.
Nighthawk will back me up on this. That's the freaking ThinkPad that the military issues all of its people. That is 10 years old when they issue it to you,
Mhm.
and then they put it inside a protective box on top of that. So not only is it a 20-pound computer by itself, but then they slap it in that stupid box, and you're sitting there walking around with a cell phone in your pocket that can do more than that stupid laptop they issue you.
Probably
It's
got a
ridiculous.
magnetic core too, so it doesn't flow away. It like sticks to that box it's on. It's like weighted purposely. I was surprised, honestly, with the hack that you didn't come up and use your Moby Glass. Like you didn't come up to some interface and you would work right here to hack it. That was the only thing that kind of surprised me. And I know they're all in full armor gear and all that stuff, but I just kind of figured, God, use this thing to check your mail, start your ship, do everything else. Why wouldn't you just like come up and do the animation like this, like you're hacking here? No, it's like you stop and you touch on the 1982 laptop that
Yeah.
is there. But I don't know. I mean, that's cool. Don't redo it, please. We shouldn't
I
get
feel like that
playing
was an
because it's
easier
like
way of just getting it done
Yeah.
than
And-
trying to figure out an animation and once again having another reason to go back
Yeah.
and do
Yes,
pickups.
I'm
and
fine
mocap.
with that.
And on top of that, they haven't figured out what they want to do or how to approach hacking within the game. We know hacking is going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So for all we know, it could be a completely separate device from your Moby Glass. Just like you need at least a tablet.
Right.
Watch Dogs 2
Something.
that using iPhones or Androids. Ugh. I press a button on my phone and I just hacked half of New York.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's how it was in the original Watch Dogs
Yep.
too. It was kind of ironic, like the amount of apps that or what his phone could do with just like one app and a button push was pretty impressive.
Yeah. Didn't he have a flip phone sometimes too in that? I don't remember. It was something stupid at one point, but yeah. he had a
I don't
regular-
remember. The game was so bad that I've tried to block out most of it. It's
I played halfway and I just stopped
I've-
playing it, but I am going to play Watch Dogs 2.
yeah, I'm going to play Watch Dogs 2
Never
as well,
touched
but I
it.
think I'm going to go with the recommendation I've read everywhere, which is wait for it to go on sale because it's one of those it's not worth getting it the day it launches.
Well, I
games,
mean,
apparently.
I don't know. There's so many people played it like already. It's Green Man's got it on sale, I think, for your 15 or 20% off. So I might go ahead and grab that, or I might have already bought it if I check.
Well, I'm still going to stick with my harshly learned lesson to never buy an Ubisoft game on launch again.
I can
At least
understand why.
At least give it a month for them to patch it because that's like a requirement for Ubisoft games is that they have to get 2 or 3 patches before they're playable on PC.
Yeah.
Hmm.
We'll see. I mean, they've launched it on console. It can't be that bad.
Yeah, that's
I told myself that with like every other build too, and it never works with Ubisoft. But we'll keep telling ourselves that.
They've said that for Assassin's Creed, for the original
Yeah.
Watch Dogs, for you name an Ubisoft game, and that somebody has said that. Hey, it looks fine on the console. It'll probably be good when they put it over.
I would also like to point out that, I want to see if they have a spectator mode that we can enable too. Like you could have a player, or if it's just like developer-wise, I'm sure right now. But that would be so cool if you did a 4v4 and you allowed other people to spectate your game.
Yes.
That would be really
That
cool
would be
because
great.
that would bridge the gap for like an esport type thing where you could watch and have maybe maybe do 5 players in each team, but only 2 of them are just pure spectators. They can't interface. It's a 4v4 match with floating cameras, and then you could actually do that. That'd be awesome.
Cyberwolf's giving you crap about buying games on launch.
Oh,
Batman Arkham Asylum says hi, Mitt.
yeah. I didn't buy that, so. But yeah, my thing is too. It's about content as well, though. So some things I buy on launch just because there's more hype about it and there's more content then. And there's honestly some games I buy on launch that I pick up and yeah, this sucks, and then I put it down and I'll come back and play it because of that. But I look at it this way:
yeah.
it's content that I have to have at some point for the show.
And that's why I got Infinite Warfare was to because everybody wanted to see it and nobody wanted to buy it.
That's right. And I played that campaign, and I actually enjoyed it.
Oh, see, I didn't. 80 minutes into it, into my stream, I was like, and we're done. And it's like, and
I loved it.
I did the refund request live on stream. It was
wow. No, I played it through, but I'd say we probably went through the whole campaign in 2 sessions. I did the whole thing. The campaign was really short, especially if you didn't do all the precursory side missions. But I really enjoyed it. It was fun.
Well,
so
the campaign. So yeah, like I said, we're 80 minutes in. We're just doing the campaign, and at this point, I've had 5 different people visit the stream and say they've already completed the campaign, and the game had only been released to them within the last 4 hours. And I'm like, that's not good. And then the writing was just so atrocious in the campaign that combined that with knowing that it was that short and it really wasn't so far that fun for me. I was like, yeah, no, I'm done.
Yep.
But the dialogue was some of the worst dialogue I've ever seen in a AAA game.
Well, you didn't like Jon Snow?
Oh
yeah, I was just gonna say poor Jon Snow.
The stuff they were saying, I kept saying that quote from Harrison Ford talking about George Lucas. You can write this shit, George, but you can't say it.
Yep.
And that's
okay. Spoiler, real quick
people
though.
Don't talk like that. Anyways,
like how Jon Snow's a bad guy in that or whatever. I can't remember his real name in the game. His character did. Wow. But spoiler, real quick. The death scene with him was like so anticlimactic. It was stupid. It's like by the time you actually get to where he is, you kill him like 2 seconds, and that was it. And it's just like you move on with the story. And I'm like, all that for like that's it? It's like, really?
Yeah.
So and that was a little disappointing to me. But
for the watch.
Yeah, I was just like, you literally smash his face into a console and walk on and be like, all right, what are we going to do now? I'm like, that was it. There was like no...
It was just a game I recently played. I streamed it. The final boss was just like that. It was so stupidly... Deus Ex Mankind Divided, I think? Similar thing. Like, there was no real serious boss battle. It was just like, you beat him and it was done.
Yeah.
And it was so... And I just sat there going... okay, that fits in with the lore of the game. That makes sense because there wasn't any other real boss battles. But still, that's it. Like,
yeah, it was like you worked all so hard getting up to him. Once you actually broke in the room, you killed him in like 2 seconds. And every other Call of Duty or anything, and I've always played all the campaigns of all the Call of Duties. I don't usually like the multiplayer, but I play them all. That it's like the guy comes back or something happens, or it's like the whole no. This guy you just cap out in like a second, and you literally throw him out of the captain's chair, take his seat, and be like, all right, we're taking the ship. Now we're going to go on and move on. I'm like,
it was Mafia 3. The final boss of Mafia 3 was extremely anticlimactic. And
but at least you had a good dialogue with him for a little while or something. I mean, you didn't just walk in there and be like, slit his throat and be like, hey, that was a game.
And it was okay. Yep. And I kept expecting him to come back to life or something. And no, it's time to do the final cutscenes. All right, we're done then.
Yeah,
that's the fight.
All right. Well, anyway, we've gone completely off track, but I love this winners photo here when they won, like how Disco's completely
Disco's
buried.
Face is covered.
Yeah, completely carried, and you got everybody in there.
DJ.
You got a little bit of dap. You got to do that.
So I'm shaking my head at DJ.
Yeah, DJ. Well, they obviously wanted everybody to be super cheese. You got a little live long
Right.
and prosper there and all that stuff. But yeah, I love it. So it was good. Oh boy. But yeah, I thought the overall Star Marine is going to be super fun. I can't wait. I'm super excited for it. And I'll tell you right now, if I run into Chris Roberts, I'm stealing that fucking shirt off of him because I want that Polaris shirt so bad. It's the first shirt they've produced, other than the Squadron 42 shirt, which I kind of like. This shirt is awesome. I want that shirt really bad. I mean, they really let me down with the Big Benny shirt. I didn't really care for that. But this shirt, like, looks like they went completely the other way. Like, okay, Big Benny's like, oh,
Go
we had
big.
a Benny shirt. Like, we bought it at, like, you know, it's like the free shirt you get in the mail, like, for at one of those little coin drop things or something. And this one's, like, a fully decked out, like, RSI. I'm like, oh, I want that so bad. It looks really good.
I just something I want to bring up. I'm seeing this conversation in chat about how long it takes to kill people and whatnot. First of all, bear in mind that this is Star Marine, not the persistent universe. The rules
We'll
that
let
they
you
apply
talk
in
about
Star
when we
Marine
look
may
at
not
Chris
be the
Roberts'
same
ass.
rules as persistent universe. Second of all, also bear in mind the ballistic weapons that we are currently using in the FPS modes and the ones that were there are all submachine gun or less. They're pistol rounds. So any amount of armor is going to be extremely effective against it. So keep that in mind. There are no high caliber ballistic weapons being used currently. Even the machine gun is a submachine gun round. I want to say it's a 9mm or something like that, or no, 5mm actually, isn't it? But yeah, it's a tiny round. So just give it time, get a chance to flesh that stuff out.
Right on. All right. Well, I think we're entering the part where we're going to try to answer some questions. I know I've drawn it out. We're really, really long in the tooth here, so we're going to blow through some real quick. We are going to do a raffle, as promised. I'm going to start a keyword raffle. It's just going to be ! Space Bros in chat for you guys. It's for a $10 Star Citizen gift card to add to your wallet. So be sure to enter that, guys. So get it all in that. And we'll look at gratuitous Chris Roberts butt shots while we're answering some questions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, baby. I noticed here's something else I wanted to point out. I know they're going to hate. This is the reasons I never get invited to any of their fun stuff, too. We'll notice, like, when Chris Roberts comes back here, I'd like to point out the camera action's awesome. But notice Sandy tries to look anywhere except Chris's butt. Like, anywhere else. Like, his butt's right in the face. Like, anywhere else can I look except, like, at Chris's butt. Like, I'm going to look at anybody else entirely. I love that. It's great. And then more of the shout-outs to the camera work here. It's like, hey, the guys are uncomfortably trying to get... Do I de-mic now, or where do I go? And
I
I don't...
Watching her eyes glance, and she notices in the monitors that it's still on them.
Yeah.
And then her eyes are looking around for whoever's in charge, like going, hey, are you noticing this? We're just looking at Chris's butt here.
Yeah. And it's like, now we'll share Jeremy and look, Unfocused, DJ Knight, and oh yeah, we're getting focus, and we're gonna hug and yeah, I don't know. We'll just go sit by Chris Twerk. Go. There's some cord in the shot. Okay, we're almost set up. Okay, you can sit right here by me. Excellent. Everybody's comfortable. Are we good now? It's natural. Do we feel natural now, guys? All right, perfect. We'll go with that. All right, so questions.
Questions.
I love that. This is stuff I say to myself when I watch these videos, by the way. So you're getting a little introspective of me. Minus the sock puppets, of course. I don't include those in the actual stream. But all right. Let's see. We had questions even before we streamed today. We had questions thrown in there. Because I've been telling people all day they do it. So, first question was from Space Zombies. He said, will you usually play Star Marine as a Marine or an Outlaw? I don't care. I'll play either side. I think it's going to be an auto, hey, you're this dude this time.
As I say, I'm going to do it just like I do Squadron Battle right now, which is click join.
Whichever armor has the hot pink armor, I'll definitely be on that one. So not only can I troll them saying, hey, you can see me, I'm the bright pink guy, I owned you. So, word. So that would be mine. All right. Which variant paint job did I find the best looking, or anybody here? So let's just go
Obviously,
through that.
the only one that matters was the black and gold saber that they showed, and that was it. I mean, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I can't wait to dig into like painting my ships, like see what I can do. No, I kind of like the weird colors, turquoise and orange and stuff like
There's
that. Things
some
that
blue
were, like,
and yellow
really
stuff
bright.
that I thought looked kind of cool. I don't. It was just because it was different. I had no tactical ability on it at all, but obviously red and black. But everybody's gonna have red and black stuff. So, here we go. Dom asked a question. He said, "Which would you prefer, 1 Prowler or 4 Cutlasses?" And I assume he's relaying that because of cost. And then think about the Cutlass rework and all that stuff. Which would you prefer to have?
In terms of usefulness, the 4 Cutlasses, because you could have 4 different roles right there.
Nighthawk?
Echo.
Same?
I have to
Cool.
kind of agree. It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Stop copying me.
Echo's getting worse.
Is me. Slip up is me.
And Moon, I assume you agree?
For melt value, I'd go with the 4 cutlasses. No, wait, hold on. Which costs more?
4 Cutlasses
Yeah, I don't
would
know.
cost $20
I
more.
don't know, the cutlasses are cool. Cutlasses look sexy as hell.
Yeah.
I'm happy for it.
You're all wrong. The correct answer was Prowler. Anyway, so next says Prowler is if a Prowler is this good, how awesome will the Redeemer rework be? Yeah, that's crazy. And then
I
he
think
said,
that kind
then
of goes
his
back to what I was saying earlier about one being a drop ship and the other being a gunship. They kind of have two different purposes to them. They have two different design loadouts. It'll really depend what you're doing with them.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Nighthawk. I think they're going to not redefine, I think they're going to push the design to fit the role intended for the Redeemer. Because before we were that was the first ship we saw that could do dropship capability in our mind, right?
Yep.
That was the first one we saw as that. Now they have distinctive ships in the Hoplite and now the Prowler and these other ships that do that. That is their job of what they're supposed to do. So I would see the Redeemer maybe starting to be redesigned more as a gunship. Because originally I was like, okay, rip out the kitchen, make it tubbed out more, kind of like what you're doing at the Hoplite, except it'd be a Hoplite with a lot of guns on it. And now I'm thinking, no, make it an actual gunship. Maybe not worry about the troop support so much as to make it like this is a multi-crew ship with a lot of effing guns on it that might take a small detachment of people, but it's going to be badass. So I agree with you there. I think that's going to be where that goes. Is the 85X a good as a token considering the price?
Oh, I don't even know what the price of it is. That's how little I care
50
about
bucks.
sales.
$50 for a 2-seater
$50
Merlin that
LTI
has
token.
quantum drive, basically, is what we're looking at.
Currently, isn't that the cheapest LTI token you could get? I mean,
It's the only
Right
one,
now-
I think, available.
Yeah.
right now.
Only, currently.
and I don't think we're going to see any other ships that are coming out at the price that like the Dragonfly did.
No.
So I
And-
think they pretty much set a precedent that we're not going to see anything coming out for under 50 or 60 or for the most part under
I think we're
100
done with
anytime
that.
soon.
I think we're done with that. I think the 35 price point was the end of that, and I think everything goes up from here. That bears a secondary question that I just thought of. I mean, at what price is a token not a token anymore? I mean, that's the thing you have to ask yourself. Is it because we call these things tokens because the base intention is that we're going to use them to upgrade to something else that's widely available. $50 is realistic right now, but at what price point is that like, it's not really an LTI token at this point?
I guess it depends on what you plan on upgrading it to. Like if you're talking about upgrading it to a Javelin, then yeah, I'm sure an Idris could be a good upgrade.
Then your
token.
Prowler's your LTI token for that because you can do that. So.
Well, so
I think that the Dragonflies and the Archimedes can definitely be labeled as tokens because they, as modes of transportation within this universe, only allow for, at best, cruise velocities. They don't have quantum drives on them. They don't have jump drives on them. They have very, very limited combat capabilities, sensory capabilities. I mean, look at the Merlin. It doesn't even have sensor readouts unless you're within a given proximity of its mothership. So
if the
these
mothership's
are literally
destroyed, you're blind.
snub craft. With the 85X, you're moving out of snubcraft and a little more into shuttlecraft,
Yeah.
like mini away mission style shuttlecraft, because it actually has a quantum drive on board, and it can hold 4 weapons. One of them is a remote turret, so you've got the full 360 gimbaling. You can fire it at targets in your rear arc if you're looking through your rear camera. It's a bit more mission capable. It can technically go out on its own and do things. It just needs to be carried in a larger ship to get from star system to star system. So because it holds more functionality and more possibilities for doing things within a given solar system, I think, yes, it can definitely be considered a token if you're purchasing it with the intention of getting a larger ship using the LTI and the upgrade. But if you want a small ship, if you want something that doesn't cost too much, that isn't everything else that we're so familiar with already, this is a nice way to sort of add something to the fleet that you don't necessarily have already.
Yeah. I think I was going to say the only thing on the point of what you said is it's going to be about its mobility, and as far as like how easy is it to transport with another vessel. I can already assume it doesn't link into a constellation because it has a different type of cockpit because it supports 2 players and all that stuff. But how can you transport? Do I have to? It's like you're having the girlfriend that has to pack 3 suitcases to go on a day trip. Do you bring all this for that, or do you just bring the Avenger that costs the same amount of money and it could just take you wherever you want to go? So I think it's very situational, but I still think it's valid as LTI token. I think if you go higher than that, not so much.
I was thinking about it as you two were talking about it, and I would say anything that's less than the base cost of the game, I would could be considered a token. So anything less than 60, basically, is where right now that's still the base cost of the game. You could consider it as then a token purchase because you know the reason I say that is because if it's 60 or more, at that point you're buying a new game essentially. You know the equivalency of buying a second game.
Right.
So then that really isn't a token in terms of as in a small purchase, nor is it necessarily a token as an add-on. You know?
Yeah, because I was also thinking, because as you get closer and closer to the $90 price point, you're getting into where the Gladius lives, the Herald even lives. These type of ships that you have an array of ships that are available, and so while you could always, use some of these newer ships that come out with LTI as a upgrade vessel, I always consider token something that's probably the cheapest price point that's universally applied to multiple types of ships of any variety. As they get more and more high on the token aspect, I think that it's no longer a token. It is a potential upgrade, but I think we're seeing the last of the tokens. I don't think there's going to be ships that come out that are going to be LTI tokens because, like Eric said, I think we're going to start to exceed or match the price of the game itself. So
it's not the Archimedes. I mean, you're excluded from so many ships that you may want to upgrade to. Where again, just like a starter ship, something like a beta, anything at the $45 price point, you really can't do. I mean, it's not a big difference, and it's not a whole lot of ships that you're excluded from.
Yeah.
I mean,
but if I can't LTI my Avenger with the token itself because it's more than what the Avenger cost, I start to be like, eh.
I think you can. It's $50.
I know, but I'm saying you're knocking on that door right there where it's like you're going to start getting the things that are LTI that cost more than the older ships. So if as a new player, I couldn't use some of these once they start to go up higher even as a token to do anything. It'd be limited what I could upgrade to LTI.
Yes, Foible, that's actually a really good point because when the Dragonfly came out, it was met with such success. They were talking about bringing out other space motorcycles from manufacturers. But in answer to that, Foible, I don't think that we're going to see any more of those before we get into the later stages of development, or not before official launch.
Right.
Because that's small beans.
That is a
compared
good
to
point,
everything
though.
else they still have to build.
But upon saying that, Nighthawk, look what they're doing with these variants. I'm just saying.
Yes, that's true.
Because all these variants are only $10 higher than their original price, and there's a variety, and they all have LTI
Editions.
I know, but I'm just using their terminology. I don't like it either. But what we're calling it, because I can see now that it's like, here's the Dragonfly variant line. I'm like, oh no, please don't, God. They're just different colors. One has a
Well, that
saddlebag.
is
One has 3 saddlebags.
What they did when they launched the the Dragonfly, they had the Dragonfly Black and the Yellow Jacket.
Yeah, but they're just.
Would you stop
colors.
copying me?
I know.
Oh, it's getting,
It's the same
it's
way.
getting worse.
It's getting worse. The Echo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, nobody else
Yeah.
hears it. We don't hear it. I think it's you guys.
You guys are
hearing
missing
it in
out,
that,
though.
unfortunately. And I apologize for
Echo.
that.
It's all
It's
right.
gone again.
Yeah, I don't hear anything. Let's see. Next question. Let's see. Oh, we're not answering space pizza. We all know space pizza beats
What?
out space burgers.
Oh, yeah. Never
Yeah.
mind. That is a stupid question.
That's
Good
a dumb
point.
question. Anyway, let's see, how much, on a scale of 0 to 10, how much butthurt is it going to be when they release the new internal estimates for 3.0? Kappa. And he says I have to say Kappa.
So here's the question, though. Is 0 the top of the scale or the bottom of the scale on that? Like,
Yeah.
does 0 mean that there's going to be no butt hurt, or does it mean that's the maximum amount of butt hurt?
We'll use 10 as the top amount of butthurt.
Okay. Then no matter what, there's going to be about a 9 level of butt hurt when they say the new release date, unless that release date happens to be tomorrow.
Probably. That's probably fair. Because Reddit. That's it. That's all I have to say. Because Reddit.
Well, and the RSI forums.
Yeah, but who reads those? I still don't. I have access and I don't read them.
Apparently, a bunch of people do.
I don't know. I'll start reading the forums when Spectrum comes out because it'll be much better from what I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Space Zombie says an NPC in SC has 53 socks. Are you ready for this? Because it's a math problem. 53 socks
Right.
in his drawer. 21 identical blue, 15 identical black, 17 identical red. The lights are fused and he's completely in the dark. How many socks must he take out to make 100% certain he has a pair of black socks?
And he has to take out the socks.
It's really
That
easy. The
depends
answer is
on how many
42
rounds he
because that's
has.
the
Oh,
answer to everything.
completely in the dark. I was like, what? The lights are fused and he is completely in the dark. I was getting confused I thought it said the lights are few and he's completely in the dark.
Fused.
How many socks must he take out to make just 2 because he's in the dark? Doesn't matter what they are. They're
Well,
going to
he
be black.
answered it. He said his answer is actually 40 socks because it gives the actual reason there. If he takes out 38 socks, which is all very unlikely, it's possible they could actually be red and blue. And 100% certain that he has a pair of black socks, he must take out a further 2 socks.
I'm sorry, but it is completely in the dark. Any pair of socks he takes out will be black.
There you go.
So he only has to take out 2.
I prefer your answer then. A generic question: if you could have any spaceship in real life, which one would you choose?
Obviously my Carrack.
There you go.
She's
have
the
to-
Firefly
Any ship?
meets the Voyager. That's the ship I want right there.
Yep, any ship.
I think you already have it. It's my Banu.
I think
But
for
we're already
me,
getting it.
if I can have multiple ships, it would be a Bengal because I'd obviously want ships on that. And if not, it'd be an Idris because then I could just own everything because I have the only live spaceship over the planet Earth, and it's like, what are you gonna do? So, let's see. Those questions are internal channel questions that we don't have to answer about Brobucks. When Star System was first announced as a Kickstarter, it was said that they wanted to make a game for the most high-end PCs in order to keep graphic fidelity relevant for a long time and push boundaries.
Jesus.
Do you think
Oh, it's
since
Zim.
technology,
It's Zim. I
of
should've
course,
known.
right? Do you think since technology has changed so much, is that this Flotty somewhat changed? And by the time SE comes out, the game will be more than adequate for mid-end systems. No, because they'll never stop adding on to it.
Yeah, here's
Right.
the thing. And there's the echo again. Echo.
Sorry.
And there we go. Everybody talk. All right. One.
I think you have to go barbershop.
Yeah.
If
that's
you
a
all
lot
go
of effort.
barbershop on it and go,
Hello.
and get in there, it'll key in.
But the thing about the top end of the hardware is Right now, there is still no hardware out there that could take full use of everything completely unthrottled in the game. They are still throttling a lot of things. They have a lot of effects, a lot of things that planned on adding in the graphics that they haven't put in there yet. And the engine's ability to deliver on Chris's promises is going to be entirely dependent on the client hardware, because whether we can have 100 ships in an instance or 50 ships in an instance is going to be far more about what ARC machines can render than about what's going to be happening on the netcode or whatever.
Absolutely.
So it will always, based on his vision, always be pushing the hardware boundaries, because as the hardware grows, as we get better graphics cards and CPUs that can render more ships, they're going to up the ante on the game so that it can render those more ships. That's just how they're going to do it.
Right on. I agree with that. What's your guys' opinion on discounted Warbond ships? I know the previous discounts had mixed responses. So anybody?
Well, it's not that they're discounted. I think that what people aren't getting is not that they're discounted. It's more that the non-Warbond ships have a tax on them for use of in-store credits and stuff like that. The Warbond ships you can only buy with money, with real money. You can't use in-store credit, and that's what it is. It's basically it's a tax they're putting on the other ships because otherwise they don't make money on those ships. It's just kind of a thing where it says, look, if you're willing to melt $100 worth more of ships to get this, fine, you can have it. Or you can give us, actual more cash and have both ships.
Yep.
I'm cool with it. I don't know if you guys saw that thing with Montoya on the forums where he had to apologize. He just caused a whole lot of anger and stuff like that. But he made a post or he made a video about the Hornet selling for $20 cheaper, and that just drove Reddit and the forums just absolutely mad, and people are against it. And I'm actually all for it. I think it's great for CIG to make more money, actual money, and not like recycling the store credit. So I'm cool with it.
You can't recycle people's paychecks. I mean, they got money. CIG's got money going out. So us remelting stuff doesn't give them money. So we have to always consider that. It has to have fresh blood into the game. So
Gecko, there's the echo again.
Gecko Echo.
Gecko Echo.
Anyways, have to do this. Gecko, the thing with the Warbond price, when you melt a ship, it melts to its value of when you bought it, whatever it is. So that's going to be the value of it. Can you buy it back at that price? I believe that's what unmelt tokens are for. Is to buy it back at the original price instead of having to get it at the current price.
I wish I knew how to fix your echo, but I can't hear it.
It just randomly comes and goes.
I know, and I can't hear it even when it happens to you guys. So it's got to be through Skype somehow. It's like reverbing through whatever output I have to you guys. So I don't know.
It's weird though that it just randomly it'll be when you're talking to. You'll be talking and suddenly there'll be an echo.
It's because my mixers must be recycling somehow to Skype some weird way. I don't know. I'll have to look at it later, figure it out. But I can't hear it, so I can't fix it. Let's see. All right, so I think you're all just insane.
Guys, he's still buying it.
There you go. Do you think Squadron 42? While on the ship, you'll be able to play poker and other things with the crew. Do you think poker and other things will be restricted to cutscenes?
No, actually, from early on in the development campaign, they talked about having things for players to do on those long journeys. And they even had one of those immersive development sessions where they got the community involved in designing, coming up with ideas for, and developing tabletop style games, card games, small widget style games. The Astropub actually designed one that I think they selected and implemented into the game. It's actually an official part of lore now, and we will be able to play later on. Right now, they just have to be able to get us moving from point A to point B, because until we're taking those long journeys, there's no reason for us to have things to fill it with.
the mayonnaise does his question does bring up a good point though. Will we see it in Squadron 42, or is it something that we're not going to be able to see until later on when it's added into the universe? That's a good distinction. I mean,
that is a good distinction.
We don't know. And also the ramifications of gambling in video games is always one of these things that some companies address, some companies say they can't do. It just kind of depends on whether you're gambling for actual in-game money and then in-game R&T and all that stuff. And that's why games like even EVE Online, they couldn't implement that quite the way they wanted to. So you have to go to outside sources in order to gamble for in-game money, and it's very convoluted. So we'll see.
Yeah, like in my state, for example, Washington State, they passed this crazy law that makes anything the online gambling, any form of online gambling, illegal, and that includes playing a gambling game in like an MMO. If it's possible at all to buy or sell the currency of that game with real money, which, as you know, in every MMO it is. Yep. So that basically and I can't go and play a craps game in an MMO with somebody else. Technically, I probably couldn't even do it in Grand Theft Auto or whatever either.
Exactly.
If they had it. So
and that's
because
why
it's a Class C felony. It's the same level of felony as a sexual predator in Washington State to do that. So
that's a real dice roll there. No, that's why, like, going back to what you said, will we see it for the MMO or Squadron 42? I think it would be more likely you would see it in the single-player campaign than the MMO because it's safer. You're not playing for anything that's monetary outside in the open universe. You're playing in a single-player game against no one, just the other AI. And maybe that's where we usually see these type of gambling things that are okay because it's not exchanged for any monetary value. It's only an in-game character in a single-player campaign.
Right.
So we'll see.
Until your CSGO lotto.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball thing. So, absolutely.
The Star Citizen ship lotto.
There you go.
Yeah, right. There's real money value to them.
Let's not start that. Anyway, Zim asked, having never played, been into Call of Duty or other FPS games, how does Star Marine compare? I was reading mixed responses such as casual gameplay or missing common features, blah, blah, blah.
Not casual. Definitely not casual. And I'm not even a heavy FPS player.
I would hate to say, I wouldn't use the word casual. I would use the word approachable. Because whereas Call of Duty, for anybody who's never played Call of Duty or had a first-time experience, you jump into that with ranked players, boom, you're dead. Because it's so fast and people are so twitchy on that. Whereas this one, it has a little more build-up, and why I think it would definitely segment with elite players that get really highly skilled in it and really good. I think you could still do a private match or something with friends and enjoy it to a level where it wouldn't have to be super elitist. I think even in Call of Duty, if you go against AI and you have it set hard, you're going to die instantly. This is how it is. Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be quite like that for Star Marine or anything else in there. I think you are going to have very competitive, but I don't think it's going to be as twitchy as a Call of Duty game is, at least in my experience, I would say, from what I've seen.
I think people think it's casual because it was slower than what they expect from those games, which that does raise the skill ceiling quite a bit when those games, how fast those games are. But that doesn't, in my opinion, that doesn't make it casual. That makes it more realistic. And for me, realistic is not casual. Yeah. It's the other way around.
In my experience, while it's okay to call people noobs and stuff like that, it's fun when you're joking with your friends. When people start calling people casuals, they're just casuals and stuff, to me, that gives the impression that you're an elitist prick, usually, when you start calling people casuals. So, it's almost more demeaning to me when people call people that than they do a noob, because a noob's just kind of fun, jarring, and all that stuff, like, hey, you're a big a-hole, you're a jerk. But when you start being, you're a casual, I see. It's too pompous to me, and it just doesn't have any place in that. So to me, it's probably only elitists making those comments like, this is a casual game. It's not as efficient and mind-blowing as Call of Duty is every November. Because they always make new ones and rehash the same shit. That's why I don't play that. I don't know. I think it's going to be good and solid. I think it's going to be fun. I don't think it's going to be twitchy, but I wouldn't call it a casual gameplay. I don't even know about this one. Said the 85X video. They said in the 85X video that is a new look for Origin Jumpworks. Is the 300 series a rework going to be as sleek as the 85X? I don't think we know that. I think that's a CIG question. I don't think we can answer that necessarily.
He did say it was part of the new Origin look they were redefining. So I hope so, because I like that. It looked more like what I pictured the 300 series being.
Me too. And it's very possible that that's what's going to end up happening, because that's more or less how they've been treating every other manufacturer. They put off design on most MISC ships until they had the Starfarer finished, because it was the Starfarer that they were using to explore the design language, the color schemes, the theories and manufacturing process behind MISC as an entity within the universe, to reflect it aesthetically so that we could identify it very clearly. And the 300 series from Origin is more or less the only thing we have from Origin right now outside of the M50. It's a legacy ship. It's designed in a time before they were approaching ships and their design based on in-lore manufacturers. Who are they? Where do they come from? Why are they building it this way? So now when they go back and they start revisiting Origin as a manufacturer, that means that they're going to be redoing the entire lineup. And it could be something as simple as the ship still looks the same. It's still the same old 300i, but the curvature on the lines might be slightly different. The wing on the tail might have a bit more of a swooped look versus that hard edge. Like small things like that. But that's what the 85X is kind of teasing at. You're going to have the same look, just
I've got a question before we go back to the other ones. Moonshiner, did you just fall asleep on stream?
No, not yet. I am tired though.
He's waning.
My eyes are like.
I know. So we're gonna rapid fire this, guys, because we do want to get through it. We only got about 4 or 5 more questions left.
Your head did the jerk, and I thought for a second you fell asleep and woke up.
It's my dulcet.
I was just checking. I've been streaming, other than the break to get ready for the Space Pro show. I've been streaming for 14 hours 40 minutes today. So it's been a long session. Wow. So we will.
I've been on since 6.
Yeah. So
this is rough.
Yeah. Hey man, get in my world, baby. You got to step it up.
I'm not getting. I don't have those freaking subscribers. You getting paid to do this. I'm here for fun. Echo.
Did
See,
you
they're
guys
going
get
crazy.
Social napping? Did you guys catch the stream where? Did you catch Russian Jay's 24-hour stream he did?
No.
He was watching. He was doing like a watch party of. Either like ATV or reverse the verse at like hour 18 or 20 or something of the stream, and he fell asleep during the watch party. And so the stream ended, and he's just there drilling on himself, head back.
That's great.
And you can hear his phone blowing up from everybody calling him and texting him, going, "Hey, you're asleep on stream." Yeah. And he's just snapped forward, and it was like a slow motion wake up, and it was so smooth. He kind of looked around for a second and went right back to streaming.
Yeah, just like reflex, like, oh, I'm doing this. All right, so let's go on. Said I don't really understand the hero ships questions. Like, what hero ships is Space Bros interested in? Not necessarily getting them, just the ones you're most interested in. So quickly, which ones?
Sombra, the new hero. She's really good. She's to hack people's special abilities. It's really cool.
There you go.
Hero ships.
Ships.
I don't know. Hero characters in Overwatch are fun.
So what ships, guys, real quick?
I'm interested in finding out more about the possible changes to the missiles on the Gladius, and if that's specific to that variant, or if it's something that's coming with the new Gladius, with the new item system. That's about it.
All right, Nighthawk.
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
Sorry. I mean, well, from my perspective, the term hero ships. You're asking me which of the ships from, say, Squadron 42 or any of the other storylines are we going to have access to? And I'll tell you right now, you're not going to take away Mark Hamill's Gladius. That's not happening.
Yeah.
Those are the hero ships. The ships that are owned and operated by main characters, those are the hero ships, because the hero ships are the ones that have the most detail applied to them, the highest level LODs applied to them, the best looking damage models, so on and so forth. Those are the ones that have the most time put into them. Everything else is just
a variant of
background item. So any ship that a player sits down in would technically be considered a hero ship, because it's received all of that work to give you the best possible look and experience. So that's a really tough question to answer.
I'll go with your answer though. I like that.
But the reason why they're calling those hero ships is because they are made in honor of heroes of the UEE.
It's a skin.
Yeah, but that's why they're calling them that. But I know. When I say hero ships or whatever, I think like the Retribution, massive these massive set pieces that are there only for the sole purpose of look how fucking awesome this game is. It's like the hero planets are the ones that have the hubs instead of procedural planets that you can fly around. The hero planets are the population centers that have the hubs and whatnot. They're there for us to go, Jesus Christ, look at what this engine can do.
Yep. All right. Well, I'll go with that answer. We'll move on to the next one so Moon didn't fall asleep on us. Said, we got 2 more questions. Valacor says, ships a 2.6 video, and he does a timestamp, but it's not really relevant there. He says, a dev casually mentions a module for the Caterpillar, that this is the weapons module with missiles. What are the options on that actually? What are the options on that actually happening?
Okay.
What I think what he said was that, for example, he's talking about other modules you could do in the future. He said, for example, maybe you could do one that was just missiles. I don't think he was saying that for sure that was coming, but as an idea that you could replace a cargo hold with basically a missile bay.
Yeah, and that's what he expanded on that. He said, what about other combat module, which to my knowledge have not been discussed officially? Yeah, I don't know what interchangeable modules like on that top turret or any of these other elements on the Caterpillar actually are available. I have no idea.
Yeah, they've had discussion about that before in the past. Hello, Echo. But there's nothing official that says this is in fact what we intend to do. Stop copying me.
Nobody can. I want you to go back and watch the VOD, because nobody else can hear the echo but you guys. So you really look insane.
I know, we're gonna have to go back and watch it.
It's like literally Nighthawk can be there and it'll just be like, stop copying me. It's like, all right, well, let's get into the safety room. Everybody in their safe space.
Stop copying me.
All right. So one last question: of the capital ships shown today, what part of the ship, interior or exterior, was your favorite?
That shot in the bay of the Bengal with the Gladii, and their cockpits were all lit up. That was freaking awesome.
I got one better.
Go, man.
Liar.
The Saber coming from like one end, flying through the Bengal, and then out the other.
I like the arch.
That's where I thought you were going.
No, that's a Top Gun, shot. That's in every.
I didn't see the coffee
and
spilt in the tower, movie. So I don't think
that's why I love
that.
I wanted the Terrence Malick shot, and that's what you got there in the bay with the lights and all that. That was the Terrence Malick sweeping cinematography shot. You're going for the Michael Bay explosion shot that every action movie has. Yeah.
So Nighthawk, where do you sit with that? What is your favorite shot, you think?
Well, for me, it was any of those shots where we were really getting a sense of scale of these ships, because up until now, we've really only seen a Javelin sitting with a Javelin, nothing else.
Yep.
Homestead was kind of a first glimpse at just how big a Javelin actually is, but having a Javelin sit next to an Idris and having the Idris and the Javelin sitting next to the freaking Bengal, and even putting a Retribution into that mix, I like that scope and that scale. We're eventually going to be able to walk around these ships.
Yeah.
So it just makes you wonder what's coming.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to cheat because I got 2, and we're going to draw this raffle, and we're going to show. Make sure again, guys, that you are following everybody in the stream. We've linked it up several times. You got to be following all the guests here in order.
Can I add another one?
Go ahead and add another one because I'm going to cheat too.
Dude, the pea-sized Idris flying across Crusader from like a super distance as it comes into line with like with the sun. It was a beautiful shot, and it's just like it's like that big, and it's an Idris.
I thought that was a Bengal.
I think it was an Idris.
We'll have to watch the video again. We'll watch the video while we go to credits at the end here, just to make double sure. But no, okay. My two, first was the guy EVAing to give the sense of scale across the entire ship from like stern to bow, like where he's just floating across all the time. I'm like,
yes,
and it's still going. And he's like, no restriction walls or anything. He's just going across the whole thing. I'm like, holy shit. And the second one was, I think they had the Bengal up there and they were showing it. It was just a usual like 45-degree angle pan. And then you see the other ships, the other caps jump in. And they come in that Star Wars sequence where it's like boom, 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 boom. And they all land in the background right there beside it like the escort does. So you had, I think it was like, you had a Bengal in the foreground, maybe an Idris and a couple of Polarises or something, like jumping in the top corner. It looked badass. I was like, those two were my favorite scenes.
Chris has had that shot in just about everything he's done, except for like Lord of War and Outlander, because they didn't have any vehicles in them. Mm-hmm. He's had that homage shot in just about everything. It's like it's practically one of his signatures at this point, of one ship jumping in and then others appearing around it.
It's such a Star Wars thing, though. That was like that's all Star Wars, just taken from that, and it's amazing. And I always like that, because the one thing dynamically in like games like EVE Online is we always do fleet align. So where it's like 150 of us or 2,000 of us, we all align to target, get up to speed, and jump, and we enter together. But I love that dynamic of multiple ships coming in at their own timing onto a point of origin where it's like boom, 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 boom. And you're like, all right, we got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20. We need to get the fuck out of here, because it's like a whole fleet jumping in sequence on you. And it's like, it's amazing. And I can't wait for that to be in Star Citizen. It's going to be so awesome.
You know what else? That just begs the question, since he's now got an engine capable of doing it in a way that's never been done before. What are the over-under odds on there being some sort of trench run in Squadron 42?
Oh,
yeah,
100%. 100%. I would say it's got to happen. And if not, not in Chapter 1, Chapter 2 for
sure. This thing to be an entire planet trench run, that kind of thing.
Well, I can see that. It's like, all right, they got a lot of artillery, but if you keep 20 feet above the flight deck, then you could dodge all their precursory anti-ship weapons. So you gotta fly low and slow and just get in there. And it's like, boom.
To do the strafing run along the King ship, what we need to do is get underneath their anti-fighter screen.
We gotta go between the ribs of it. It's no problem. It's like, what? Holy shit. So yeah, that's going to be exciting. All right, guys, let's go ahead. We're going to draw down this raffle again. Make sure you're following all the awesome streamers here. Let's go ahead and talk to each guy real quick about what they're doing besides passing out. Moonshiners, go first. What do you got coming up, buddy?
Let's see what's going on. We raised $600 for Extra Life tonight.
Congrats on that.
We're doing a whole lot of the same old Star Citizen, Overwatch, stuff like that. Some things I got in the future, and I don't know if you guys heard about this yet. It's gonna happen. I got my Diva headset. I got my Diva gun. I'm gonna do some scary ass shit, and you'll see it on my stream. I'm gonna do some Diva cosplay, and it's gonna be sexy as fuck. I'm just saying. I got my headset. Nice. I got my gun. I bought a $60 suit. I'm gonna look pretty, and hopefully you guys are there as well. If you guys are interested, you guys can go over to my page, and if you want, please feel free to donate to Extra Life. We raised $600. That shit's fucking awesome. We had a $500 goal, something that I think was obtainable, and guys really came through with it tonight. I got my podcast on Monday.
Yep,
gotta get you guys on soon. I've had Nighthawk. I've tried to have Mitauchi, but it was like I rushed him. We got to see if we can get. We have Z-Man and Scuba Steve on Monday. The Zulu group
building better communities.
Yeah, building better communities. BBC all up in the house. It's gonna be awesome, and that'll be Monday. Cool. Me, I just love doing podcasts.
Absolutely. Podcast crazy.
And I'm gonna dress like Diva on my screen, on my Steam, and whatever my stream. Look at my gun. Looks awesome. Look how good this thing came out.
It looks pretty good. Nighthawk, what do you got coming up, buddy?
So I've had some changes go down in real life that are allowing me to bring my streaming channel back up and running, hopefully on a pretty regular basis, at least over the next few weeks. So I'm going to try and take full advantage of that. Besides that, it's just spending time with the family, raising a baby hawk and teaching her the ways of the Star Citizen world and making sure she's a sci-fi fan.
There you go. It's important to dedicate to that. I still love my son when he runs around. He goes, "Ooh, spaceships!" I'm like, "Yes, you are my child." All right, Eric, what you got coming up, bud?
I should probably mention.
Oh, what you got?
Sorry, one last thing.
What's up?
I should probably mention I finally purchased my wife's game package today.
Ooh, nice.
So you're saying your wife has a nice package?
Yes, I do.
Nice.
Nice.
She's lurking somewhere in chat.
She always is. She's always watching.
Always watching. My wife started doing that too. It kind of creeped me out the other day. I was like, I didn't even know she was watching. I got like a bit donation from her. I'm like, ooh, watch what you say.
My dad started doing that. My dad finally figured out Twitch.
Yeah.
So he set up his own account and everything, and he'll randomly lurk in my channel. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I can just see that bit donation coming with the note saying, "Make sure use this when you go get milk later on tonight."
There you go. There it is. No, she's been watching. She'll watch commercials and she'll sit there and I'll say something, I don't know, like kind of smart ass or something. Like, yeah, I gotta go up and pick up all this shit, and they're like, bit donation from Pure Hope, and I'm like, oh, she's watching. It's like, okay, yeah. Anyway, change the subject. So, Eric, what you got coming up, buddy?
I'm still doing the creative streams all through this month, the writing, and gaming streams off and on in between. Then just whatever I feel like playing. I'm probably not going to be going back into Star Citizen until 2.6 is in public PTU, so I won't be doing many of those streams. And yeah, I'm not doing any cosplay anytime soon either. So that's right out.
Right on. Well, we all know that next week I'll be having again the Space Bro Show. We're going to be trying to raise money. We were raising money today for Extra Life. I think we got just around $550 or so, plus some extra donations we're getting there for that. We're going to keep that page up though and run it probably for at least the rest of the month for people to kind of contribute there as they'd like to help the kids out. Great organization. Additionally to that, we're going to have be raising more funds for more giveaways for all the anniversary sale for anybody who wants to contribute, and trying to recoup some money for this awesome streaming apparatus that creates echoes for everybody else except the stream themselves. That we'll have to work out on the audio on that, but we're going to be trying to repay all that and get that stuff going, and expect a lot more streaming all this next week. So it's going to be
okay. I got to say something here because of course everybody immediately said it. If you guys, here's the deal, because I hear this all the time. You guys want Gimli cosplay? That's fine. You pay for it. I will wear the outfit. I'm more than happy to do a Gimli cosplay, but I'm not going to go out and buy a damn dwarf outfit or full armor and all that just so I can wear it on stream once.
Could you just take off the beard? I mean, everybody knows it's fake. Can you just take it off? Come on.
There you go. All right, guys. Last chance here. Make sure you guys are entering this raffle. If you haven't already, you have to be following all the channels, and we're getting ready to close it here in the next 20 seconds. So Space Bros in chat to enter that, and we're going to give you got 10 seconds now. And that's enough. I'm tired of waiting. Closed. All right, we have 68 entries for this $10 SC gift card. Good luck, everybody. We're going to check all our channels here. Everybody get prepared to check your followers and your channels.
What's your command for doing that again?
I just hit the bot button.
Yeah, see, I've switched over bots, so I can't check with everybody now.
Uh-oh. We'll figure it out.
Fully populated.
Oh,
Flying Gecko. Well, then
that's
that's
easy.
easy.
Yeah, that's easy.
I know he's been following me for ages.
He just won a freelancer in my channel too for the monthly giveaway. So now you got to.
Actually, he just made a comment in chat. Oh, apparently I'm entered. I don't think I'm qualified because I just won something.
you can win the $10 gift card. You just can't win anything over 25. Because we do a 7-day wait period, so somebody didn't grind out like a bunch of expensive giveaways in the channel. That way everybody gets a shot. But he's good on $10 one. Mm-hmm. Unless he chooses to give it away to somebody else, but I'll let chat tear each other apart over that. So good luck.
They're already doing that.
I know. They do that off the jump.
Make them re-roll.
Yeah. Do that stuff. God damn it. It's like, yeah. It's like, anyway. All right. So we are good.
There's a guy in chat and he's there right there. Ruckus. Ruckus won a Prowler on my stream tonight.
Nice.
He's complaining that this one's rigged.
Yeah, he's complaining this one's rigged. But from what I heard, in Ruckus, you may want to I think Ruckus only has a Aurora LX. That's the only ship he has. So congratulations to Ruckus.
Besides the Prowler?
From going from an Aurora to a Prowler.
Wow, that's a hell of an upgrade. Stepping up.
Yeah.
Stepping up in life.
Yeah.
All
Is that
right,
true,
guys.
Ruckus? I think so.
What's the command for them to get all of our channels? Is it Space Bros?
! Space Bros, all one word.
There we go. Yeah, somebody
Yep.
in chat was asking for it.
Yep.
Oh, you changed it from shameless self-promotion?
Yes. Ruckus is cut off. That's funny. Hey, that's what we should do. We should make a prize pool where if they win big in any of our channels, they can't win anything in the other one, so it messes around. It's like, oh, they'd love us then. Wouldn't they be mad? It's like, fuck that. It's like,
God,
it'd be the ultimate troll.
And the kind of giveaways I'd give, I give away, winning like a $5 gift card would be winning big on my channel. So
I was going to
they'd be
say,
all
the kind of
pissed off.
giveaways Eric gives away, There's special
Like,
back
wait a
rubs.
minute, I
Special
won
back rubs.
your 99-cent Kindle book, and now you're telling me I can't win a Prowler, you fucker?
Yeah, exactly. Damn it. Damn it. All
Take
right,
your damn
guys.
book back. It wasn't even that good.
It's late enough. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Moonshiners, Nighthawk, Eric, you guys. I always do appreciate you guys coming over and doing all this stuff. We are going to all go to bed, not necessarily together, but maybe just capture that visual.
Yes.
Anyway, so have a great night, guys. Thank you for being here.
Shiner's going to be in full costume for it.
Yeah, full costume, cuddles in bed. We'll see you guys later. Have a great night, guys.
Sweet dreams of that.
Sweet dreams of that visual all night long and do it. So
Can't even look at my computer screen anymore.
excellent.
I linked it in chat. If anybody wants to see it, this is what's going to be. If you haven't seen Diva, hold on. Bam. That's Diva. Just posted in chat.
That's Diva,
Oh my
or that's
goodness.
you as Diva. 'Cause
That's
this is
when
yeah,
he's
that-
going
ground.
to...
Yeah, no, that's me. That's how good I look when I do it. So.
Him as a
look at the
diva.
gun. Look at the gun. The gun is like right on.
Shiner, I don't want to look at your gun. All right, good night, guys.
Yeah, look at my gun.